Hello, and welcome to Recently Watched, the show where two jackasses talk about movies and TV shows they recently watched. My name is Justin Ashley, and joining me is former child star Kevin Lackner. Were you in one of the Air Bud movies or something?
Air Bud 5.
Yeah, Air Bud Spikes Back. This is the volleyball one.
Really? This is volleyball?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Air Bud eventually did all of the sports.
Every sport.
Pretty much, yeah. It started off as just like a basketball dog, which was an actual dog that could like hit the ball.
There was football too, wasn't there?
Yep.
Basketball.
That one's a golden retriever instead of receiver. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
And then there's seventh inning fetch.
Baseball? Okay.
Yeah, okay. How a dog holds a bat and swings it is beyond me. Yeah.
Well, he would be like an outfielder, I imagine. Well, how would he throw the ball back in?
All kinds of questions. You know what? At that level of play with like kids, I'm sure the dog would do pretty well.
I guess. Yeah.
It definitely could outrun everyone.
There's no rule that says a dog
There's nothing that
play.
says that. Yeah, there's no rule that says you can't shoot your opponent, but just it's kind of an unwritten rule, you know what I mean? There's certain rules that I don't think you necessarily need to write down, but
Did they do hockey? Can a dog play hockey?
No, but that's what the MVP, most valuable primate
movies.
Remember
That's
that
right,
stupid shit?
Most valuable primate.
Dude, the 90s ruled.
Yeah, we got to bring those back.
And like
animals,
Free Willy and shit.
Free Willy,
just like exploit, like the exploit animal movies. Yeah, let's bring that shit back. That's a good show.
Babe, Pig in the City.
Yeah, Flipper.
Yeah, Flipper.
They did like a reboot in the 90s.
Homeward Bound.
Anyway. Anyways, what are we doing here? What are we talking about? Last time we were at this table, we shot like a secret episode that was meant to be like a backup episode, which is going to come out, has already come out. So that's now been released. But before that, we did our Simpsons videos.
That's right. Yeah, last time was the Simpsons.
It's been a couple months.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, was that a lot of work. If you haven't seen them, please check out our Simpsons videos. We did 2, both of which are like almost 5 hours long. We did our top 10 favorite Simpsons episodes of all time from the golden era, what we each considered the golden era.
Yep.
And then we did our top 10 worst Simpsons episodes of all time, also from what we each considered the golden era. Check them out. I think they came out great.
Yeah. That was a lot of work. That was a lot of
it was a ton of
filming.
Work. Yeah. And I'll say that a lot of people liked our first video when we were praising episodes and talking about the good times.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not so much with the second video. Holy fuck. People are defensive about like, God forbid you have an opinion on a Simpsons episode that you don't think is very good.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God. The amount of fucking babies being
I don't read the reviews.
No, that's actually a good episode. It's actually well written. You guys are complete idiots.
Like, wow, Jesus Christ. We're not... okay, I mean, sure.
That's true.
You obviously know us a little bit. But no, it's... the amount of people that are like freaking out about specific... Like, the tons of comments whining about, like, if God forbid we shit on any episode. It's like, you're allowed to have an opinion, like,
that's
but
true.
You know, the internet doesn't want to accept that. It's like, no, we all think the same, buddy. If we all like it, then you have to like it too.
So of the like 10 people that
the commented, yeah. Oh, there was all kinds of hate comments on the clips for the worst episodes. It's just people. It's all just people disagreeing with basically every pick we had. It's like, oh well, I guess you just don't like Rodney Dangerfield, bro. Why don't you just say that?
I guess that's that was like, my hot take.
Yeah, and then it's like, actually, the Australian episode's genius. It's so cleverly written. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't see it that way. Yeah, you calling me an asshole. That's gonna perfectly make me think that now I see it your way, right?
Yeah.
Moving on from the comments, moving on from the controversy, we are here filming a good old-fashioned regular recently watched, which if you're not familiar with the show, very simply, I have a list of things that I've recently watched. Could be movies, could be TV shows, could be old, could be new. You have the same. We're going to go back and forth and just talk about shit we recently watched. It's all off the cuff. I don't know what the fuck you've got on your list.
Yeah, you've got a million things on your list.
Yeah, I tend to have more. So let me go through my list first, and then we'll go from there. Yeah.
Sounds good.
You ready
Yeah.
to get right into it?
Yeah, let's jump right in.
Yeah, no more rigmarole fucking around. Let's just get to the
No more
shit.
complaining about the comments.
Complaining about comments. Yeah. You hurt our feelings. Oh, please like us. And the funny thing about those comments is like, I can see the analytics. So like every one of the clips that was like, this episode of The Simpsons is bad, right? It would have like all these dislikes, but then like I can see in the analytics, it says it's like, oh, plus 15 subscribers. So it's like, okay, I guess you're hating us, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, well, I'm still going to subscribe. Okay, sure. Yeah, these guys fucking suck. Well, I'm going to see what else they have to say. Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for the free subscribers for some reason. My first pick here. I am very curious if you had watched this. You probably didn't. I don't even know if you saw this came out. This was like, I think, a Netflix original production.
Okay, is this new?
Yeah, so I think all of my picks today are fairly new, last couple years.
Yeah.
From 2023, they cloned Tyrone.
Shit, they got an elevator in this bitch.
Slick, come on.
That make your spider senses tingle. What kind of shit is this?
Like I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Don't let the back door hit you.
We gotta go.
I don't know what that was, but that wasn't me.
Somebody is conducting experiments on us.
It's in the fucking chicken.
This shit in everything.
Grape train. Come the fuck out.
No, I heard about this.
Okay, so you didn't actually watch
I didn't
this.
watch it. I didn't realize it was on like a streamer. I thought it was like a
Yeah, it was like a Netflix. I think it was a Netflix produced film.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the one that has Jamie Foxx and John Boyega.
Yeah.
So
The name is like so fascinating.
it's a very
Like,
cool name.
That's
Yeah.
intriguing, but I was like, it'll probably come out in theaters or something. I just like missed it.
I'm gonna bring up the name again.
They cloned Tyrone.
They cloned Tyrone.
That's like almost like an
I'll
old
save it, but
sci-fi.
I'm gonna bring it again. It's gonna come up again here. But let me just get in basic plot.
All right.
So like it starts off and it's almost like, it's like inner city. This is the atmosphere, this is the backdrop. It's supposed to be like a very impoverished neighborhood. It's called the Glen. And it starts off following John Boyega's character, Fontaine. And he's like he's just like a street tough hustler. He's like a drug dealer.
What year or era is this?
I think this is supposed to be modern. I think this is like modern times.
Okay,
I think
okay.
this is supposed to be like current times. But it's like it's set at the backdrop of like rough streets, gang violence.
Yeah.
Drug dealing and prostitution. It's supposed to be a very like predominantly black neighborhood that is obvious. It's similar to like a ghetto type thing. This is the backdrop. This is the environment that we're immediately thrust into at the beginning of the movie. And it starts off just like, like almost like an episode of The Wire. You're just following this Fontaine character and he's like going through his daily routines and he's collecting money and he goes to collect money from Jamie Foxx's character. Jamie Foxx plays a character called Slick Rick.
Okay.
And Slick Rick's like this like wisecracking like pimp type character. And he goes to get his money and then immediately after this Fontaine gets gunned down and shot and killed.
So wait, so Fontaine is like collecting money for like he's an enforcer or something for
He lent him money or something
Or
like
he's
that.
just-
No,
okay.
it's his own enterprise. He doesn't work for anybody.
Okay,
No, Fontaine's like his own man. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
okay.
He just like lent money to. He's not like collecting for somebody else. It's like
He's just like
he's collecting from Slick Rick.
Yeah, okay.
They know each other.
Well-
They have like a history.
What is he just gunned down randomly or was it a
So
targeted
it's a
attack?
rival. So it's like a rival gang member of some kind.
Oh,
yeah. So
okay.
somebody that had like a beef with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gun.
So he has enemies.
Yeah,
then.
he has. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he gets shot and killed. Cut to the next day, where he wakes up and is suddenly alive, even though he was just killed.
Yeah, we
just
saw
We
him.
just saw him get shot and killed, and then he wakes up and he repeats the day again.
What? Like,
And then
does he have wounds?
okay, no. He
There's
doesn't
no
have-
like bullet
there's
wounds
nothing,
or like bandages or anything?
No, there's nothing
Okay.
like that. So
Well, he just wakes up and he's like, that was weird.
yeah, so he resets. No, he doesn't even have any memory of that. So he
okay.
wakes up, he gets reset, and then he goes and does what he thinks is the routine that he's supposed to be doing that day. He goes to Slick Rick to collect his money again. But Slick Rick just saw him get shot and killed. So Jamie Foxx is like, what the fuck? You dead. He's like, I just saw you dead. And he's like, what do you mean I'm dead? He's like, I'm not dead. And then they get, it's like one of Slick Rick's like prostitutes, Yo-Yo. And she was like, oh yeah, I saw him dead. and then Fontaine's like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
he's like mind fucking him, right?
So it's like a pseudo Groundhog Day for the main character, and everyone else is like, what the hell? Like,
it's not Groundhog Day. Just
Okay,
wait,
okay,
I'll get to the sci-fi twist. It's not what you think. Think of the name. What's the name?
they cloned Tyrone. Okay.
Clone.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. So then, Fontaine ends up like getting Slick Rick and Yo-Yo to help him. Like they begrudgingly help him. They kind of form a little bit of like a investigative.
They would want to
group.
know what
They're
is
trying to
going
figure out
on.
what the fuck's
Yeah.
going on. Earlier in the film, Fontaine sees there's like some like zombie looking guy walking down the street. This is like kind of off in the background, but he happens to see this. And it's like some guy that's just like, he just looks so out of it and he's walking like a zombie. And then like this mysterious black SUV, like government SUV just pulls up and these guys come out, just grab him and throw him in the van and then speed off. And Fontaine's like, that's weird. And then they happen to track that SUV to this house. And it's in like a just decrepit neighborhood. And it's like, it looks like an abandoned, like a trap house. And they go in the house, and inside the house, on the outside, the fascia, it just looks like, again, like a trap house. They go inside, and there's like clean, like office space, and like the way it's built inside, there's like a break room, and there's like lockers. And they're just like, what the fuck is
like,
happening?
Government organization or something like that.
Yeah, and then they find a secret elevator,
of course,
that takes them down to an underground lab where it turns out that what's happening, like, I'm going to spoil a lot of this. So
yeah, I guess this is pretty big spoilers.
This is huge spoilers.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to listen to this, go to the next time code.
I would say
and then skip to the next thing.
that sounds fascinating. Like, yeah.
The government is doing something in the town. The name kind of gives it away, but I haven't really spoiled everything.
You should have like a button.
I'm about to now get to everything.
You should have a button that does like a noise for spoilers or something like the.
Nope.
Like the Kill Bill, like.
I'm just gonna immediately ruin it. No, I'll warn people when I think that it's worth stopping you from getting things spoiled.
Okay.
But, even knowing the main premise, though, like I think in the trailer they show a lot of this, so I don't know that I'm ruining everything. But so then they end up uncovering this like lab where they're cloning people, and they actually find the dead Fontaine from the beginning of the movie. So the one that got shot up at the beginning of the movie, they find that corpse.
The corpse is in there. Okay.
So then, who is this Fontaine? He is obviously a clone of that Fontaine.
So they're not only, it's not that they're just clone, like from the title, they cloned Tyrone. It's like, okay, well, a clone's a clone, but they're cloning his like memories, because you said that he woke up and he's like, well, I'll just go about my day.
Yeah.
So the clone would have all of his like existing memories and like habits and personality.
Yeah.
Because a clone does not necessarily mean that like, you automatically get that person's personality and memories and like their whole behavior like thing. So what is the deal with that?
So I don't remember everything because it gets very convoluted by the end, but basically what ends up happening is the three of them end up stumbling upon this elaborate, borderline nonsensical government plan.
Yeah. Well, the biggest question would be why, right? Like why?
And I don't really want to spoil that because it's okay, I will. But so they find this plan, and it turns out that there's a under this like area, so under like this ghetto area, there's a giant government lab complex that stretches on. It's like it's stereotypical as you can think, like a master, like a supervillain's evil lair, right?
Yeah.
And they have cameras all over the town. They're able to monitor the entire town at all times. They're cloning certain residents, and on top of that, they're like experimenting on them with bizarre experiments, and they're also manipulating the population in the area by like they're fucking with. So there's like a chicken place, like they just fried chicken.
Okay.
They're fucking with the food to manipulate their behavior. And they're also fucking with like all the hair salons, the cream that they like, I think it's Brill cream. I don't know what there's a type
chemicals
of,
in
there's
the
a type of
product.
product that is very big. Like the products, basically anything that would be like considered popular within the black community, they are manipulating all of it to fuck with their behavior.
Okay.
And what they're doing is making them all like goofy and like very easy to manipulate. Like it's basically stupefying them all.
Okay. Yeah. So it's population control or something.
Population
it's all
control,
the like
it's manipulation.
tinfoil hat sort of theories, but
Yeah.
like what if they were actually real?
Yeah. And
where
then
it's like, man, the government's putting stuff in the food. It's
Yeah,
like,
and then-
what if that was true? And it's
Yes.
like they're cloning people. It's like, what if that was true?
Yeah.
So is that the idea?
that kind of
Okay.
thing. And then it's like they're also manipulating the music. So like the hip hop music, it has like a subliminal programming in it where like it's hypnotizing you in a sense so that they can control you with like specific words.
Oh, so
There's,
it's
like,
literally
trigger
like
words.
trigger
It's
like
like Manchurian candy.
candidate?
Yeah.
The trigger word,
Yeah.
they're gonna like assassinate somebody or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
This sounds like kind of awesome. This is like hilarious.
it starts out awesome. I was in love with this movie until about the halfway point. So it's
Because that's almost like a They Live, where it's like once you see behind the curtain, then you're like, well, we got to take this down.
Right.
Like, I would imagine the characters would be like, well, we got to destroy
fuck
this. Like,
this. Yeah, exactly.
Take down the man.
So
kind of
like
thing.
it starts off and it's dark humor and it works really well. Like the dark humor, the quippiness, there's a lot of like the dialogue's very snappy and quippy.
Yeah.
I want to give a ton of praise to Jamie Foxx. This is probably one of my favorite roles of his. He is so fucking good as Slick Charles. He is like chewing the scenery and like his whole look, his getup in it is so overdone and it's so over the top. He looks so funny and he just nails that like, that type of like pimp person.
Well, bring up a picture of him.
Sure,
if
yeah.
you can,
So
actually.
like,
I'd like to see.
like the pimp persona.
Well, didn't he play like a seedy pimp or criminal in like a comedy before? The one.
Yeah, I was gonna think. What are you thinking of?
Charlie Day one, the Horrible Bosses or something.
Yeah, look at this.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
With the big, like the
Look
fur
at his
coat.
hair.
The hair.
Like this, like that image right there tells you everything about this character.
That's awesome.
He kind of has like that, Madonna personality where he talks like this player, like
Yeah.
he's doing the type of like pimp persona. What is the word I'm looking for? It's a type of pimp persona where they're just trying to maintain this like air of superiority, but
Yeah.
also like class and.
I know exactly what you mean.
If you see it, you'll just know it. You recognize instantly what he's trying to do, but he fucking nails it, and he's so fucking entertaining to watch.
Entertaining,
And-
chewing up the scenery kind of thing.
And John Boyega, to John Boyega's credit, like John Boyega is?
Yeah, he's in the Star Wars films.
Yeah, he's the Finn guy. Yeah. I don't think
I don't believe I've seen him in anything else. I could be wrong. But
his breakout role was Attack the Block, that UK
I actually never
alien
saw that.
invasion movie.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I've heard it's really good.
John Boyega is solid. This is the first time I'm like, oh, okay, you have range. Because most of what I've seen him in, he kind of plays the same-ish characters.
Yeah,
He's,
he's stuck with that like Finn character for like a big chunk of his career.
and he doesn't get to do much. That
They did
character
not give him
fucking
anything to
sucks.
do, no.
Yeah, much like that trilogy, though, that character sucks. So John Boyega, at first I was like, who is this? And when I realized it was John Boyega, I was like, oh damn! Like he's like transforming himself into this role. Like
Cool.
It's
yeah.
very
Is there
good.
a picture of him?
Very
can
good.
Can I see what he looks like in this?
Yeah, he's. Hold on a sec. He kind of looks like somebody that would be like in Wu-Tang Clan or something.
Awesome.
Yeah, hold on a sec here. I got to think of what the character. Oh yeah, Fontaine. Yeah, that is John
Yeah,
Boyega.
that's cool.
He looks like ODB.
Yeah,
he looks
yeah,
like
yeah,
fucking
he
old dirty
does.
bastard. Yeah, and he plays it 100% straight.
Oh,
Like
that's cool.
he's not smiling or cracking anything. He's literally just like the tough guy. That's like,
the stoic sort of
Yeah.
like, okay.
All right.
Because
yeah.
even during like the way you described it, he just wakes up and he's like, oh, okay, like I guess I better.
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah.
all the cast is great.
Interesting.
This is where it falls apart. It falls
It
apart.
falls apart. Oh,
Well,
oh no.
it falls apart because I don't know what the fuck it's trying to do. It's just very convoluted. It's like exactly what you said, where it's like it's all these conspiracy theories. They're cloning people. Okay, they're cloning people. They're also doing tests on people. They're testing people. They're fucking with our food. They're fucking with their food. They're messing with the music. They're messing with the music. It's like it's all this shit, and it's like
It seems
it's
like a
not
bunch of
concentrated, but ultimately, so here's the spoiler. The spoiler is it's like our goal is to whitewash the black population. But I don't know that what they're doing 10 million different things. It feels so unfocused. It's like that's how you're accomplishing whitewashing? Like it doesn't quite feel it feels like a nonsensical plan to accomplish what they're trying to do.
okay.
Like why are you cloning people? That's the part I'm not under. Like it's very
Yeah.
convoluted. Yeah.
Because it seems like they're toying around with like a bunch of cliches and stereotypes and like fun and interesting ways, remixing them and being like, oh, like what if this and this, but like, yeah, without having seen it, like I don't know what the concrete like result of
So
all
it
that
starts
would
off,
be.
yeah, well, the way
Or, like-
the way they resolve it, it's like it starts off so like
So do they?
fun and quippy and like this is entertaining, and then it turns like stark serious, and it's like
oh,
and then
let me ask you.
and then
do
they try to take they're trying to take the nonsense seriously all of a sudden, and it just falls flat because it's so almost farcical. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. The tonal shift doesn't work for me. I hate the ending. And he ends up like, do you want me to spoil this or are you going to watch it?
I was going to ask, do they raid the facility? Like,
Yes.
what is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Fontaine ends up meeting the real Fontaine, who's the one that runs this program, who's John Boyega.
Oh.
And his whole
okay.
motivation for all of this is just like, he's like, yeah.
So he's a clone of a clone of a clone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's like, yeah. There's tons
Just
of
madness?
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
Slick Charles has like clones. There's clones of like multiple people. Yeah. Because they end up
Okay.
finding like under the facility, it's like, oh my God, that guy has a clone. That guy has a clone. So they ended up like breaking into the facility and just like start tearing it apart, and they end up exposing everything. But like the original Fontaine, his motivation is just like, yeah, our people are being killed, like systematically being killed by the authorities. Like it has messages, but it's not tight. It feels very uneven, and it's not there. They needed a little bit more time in the oven. They needed somebody to rework the writing a little bit, and they would have landed it. But like his motivation is like, our people are being killed off by the authorities, so it's better rather than face annihilation, we need to start doing assimilation. That's the whole motivation behind the program.
It's very nihilistic.
Yeah.
It's very sort of like cynical.
I
guess,
have problems with it. I don't like the ending. I think the justification is lame, and I think the tone shift doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I'm not going to spoil this. There's a payoff for the name of the movie. You don't get it to the last possible second. It might even be an after credit scene.
Oh, cool.
And it's just
Okay.
a funny little like clever thing. It's like, oh, that's clever. Not going
Cool.
to tell you what it is. but-
So is it worth a watch?
I would
Like-
recommend it.
Yeah, you would recommend
I am
it.
recommending They Clone Tyrone. If you just want something, if the acting's great, it's very well produced. It's a fun ride. As much as I don't like the ending, I know a lot of people do like the ending. And I'll say this: there's similar to They Live. There's a lot to mine here for analysis.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to analyze the themes and messages in the meaning behind the film, there's a ton to go off of here. It's very layered. So
Yeah, that sounds cool.
but I just think it gets a little too convoluted for its own good, and I think the tone is too uneven, and I think I don't like the antagonist motivation, but
yeah.
but solid. It's good. I recommend it. Yeah.
Cool.
Now onto a film that I don't recommend.
Okay. All right. Right off the bat.
Right off the bat, buddy.
Okay.
Let's see if you even remember when this coming out from 2022.
2022. Okay.
The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
What'd you do? Hello, Mother. This is Jim Baker, my husband. It's all part of our mission to help people. Anyone who's hurting or they feel like they've been left out, God has a plan for us.
What'd he tell you to do this time?
Jesus keeps a taking me higher and higher.
Jim will preach, and I'll sing.
Yeah, this was like a big award contender, wasn't it?
The biopic one. This is the Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield film.
Yeah.
This is the Preachers.
It's a biopic about
the televangelist. Sorry.
the televangelist, like Tammy Faye and
Jim Baker.
Jim Baker.
Yeah, Jim Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a bit about them. I think I listened to like a podcast about the history of them. My understanding is the real life people, they came from like nothing. They became like evangelists, and then they were the forefront of the TV evangelist thing.
So
like,
they weren't the first ones
they
to
weren't
do
the first
it,
ones
but they
to do
were
it?
like the big one. They're the ones that got big.
They got huge.
So like there were other Christian religious programming at the time.
Yeah.
They just had something. They had that extra little showmanship that
the
made
combination
them superstars.
of being like husband and wife, and then being like showmanship superstars.
They
for
basically
TV.
were the first ones to bring they mixed a variety show with religious programming.
Yeah.
And that's what put them on the map.
And it seems to me, without having seen the film, but I know a little bit about the history, it seems like they sort of became the model for what like Righteous Gemstones is based off of. Just like heinously corrupt billionaire,
drug addicts,
like
power went to
power
their head.
hungry, like they create this huge empire of like media, but then it like falls apart. Or
House
something.
of Cards kind of idea. Yeah.
So is that what?
So it is. I wanted to like this. I really did. The performances are very strong. Jessica Chastain nails it.
Yeah, I heard she nailed the role.
I think the makeup work on her got nominated for an Oscar because she has a ton of prosthetic work on her.
Oh, interesting.
I'll bring up what that looks like because it's really cool looking. Like it doesn't. As soon as you see this, you're like, oh my god.
No, that's a lot of makeup work, and to make her look like the real person.
Yeah,
yeah.
They nailed it, eh?
Yeah,
yeah. Like that doesn't look like Jessica Chastain.
No, like I probably wouldn't recognize her
if
I didn't know that it was like that.
Yeah, like look at this. Yeah,
very well done.
Very well done.
I can see the costumes and stuff are all like.
Well, so the actual Tammy Faye in real life was like very eccentric and wore like these outrageous outfits and over the top. It's a very well made film.
Who played Jim Baker? Let me ask you that.
It's Andrew Garfield.
Oh, it's Garfield.
Yeah,
okay.
Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very competently well filmed. It's very well acted. They had money to work with. My problem is it is it's so basic as a biopic. Like it's just not. It doesn't have the slickness of say like Wolf of Wall Street. Like if you get like Scorsese involved, like if you get somebody that's a really talented filmmaker, they can elevate a biopic where it's like you don't really need to even give a shit about the subject matter, and it's just so entertaining.
I
it's
very
like a
rarely
wild true story.
I very rarely like biopics at all. I think that's probably maybe the last one
I don't like
enjoyed.
biopics. I don't like biopics at all. That's the last one I enjoyed.
That's probably the last one
because
I
they're
would-
all so fucking basic and they're all so Oscar baity. You know, like if you've seen one, you've seen them all. Like,
and this one is very much in the standard cliche of like the rise and fall of these people who they have it all and they make it to the top, but then it's
that's
like a house
all
of cards
biopics.
crumbles down.
It's like all biopics.
That
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
the same
thing.
thing.
We're telling the same story to ourselves over and over
and
through
again.
culture. Like
right?
it's-
Yeah, and this one doesn't do enough to separate it. It's so by the numbers, and
because what is unique about their story?
So here's
is there anything like where you're like, oh wow, interesting?
So here's the thing that bugged me. There's so much wild shit with these two, and there's tons of crazy rumored stories. A lot of it's not in the film.
Oh.
And the way they pace it is so off, where like it almost feels like we're just skipping a lot of the major events. Like it's just like, okay, They start off and they're just young college kids and they're poor and they don't have like a pot to piss in, and then they meet a guy and then now they are on TV and they have a crappy little TV show. But then the TV show suddenly gets popular. Now they own their own network. Oh, and now they're rich. And now one of them has a drug addiction. Like it's not paced right. It's just kind of like they keep skipping ahead in time where it's like, okay, now they're rich. Now that one of them is a pill popper. Now one of them is like maybe a closeted homosexual. Like it's not paced properly where we really get to know these characters.
So it's like a scene will end and then it'll be a time skip. Is that what you're saying?
It very much so keeps jumping ahead. It keeps trying to get you to the crazy shit without properly setting up and paying off the crazy shit. So and I had just watched right around this time. Actually, I don't want to get into this because that would be a bonus review, but never mind. I'm not going to say it. But I just watched another biopic that I thought was done way better, where it had crazy stories and it didn't feel like it was rushing to get to those things. It didn't feel like anything was skipped. I liked it. Just the flow was way better.
Yeah.
But the other issue I have with it. So actually, I should say it would work better as a docu-series. If you were to make a docu-series that was like just interviewing people, like their stagehands and shit that probably have some wild stories to tell. It's like,
the people who worked on their production.
Tammy Faye would insist that we blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm sure there's all kinds of crazy shit, like wild stuff that happened. That would work. Do a biopic or a docu-series. Get some fucking talking heads in front of cameras and let's hear those crazy stories.
I'm sure that must exist.
Because Jim Baker eventually went to prison. Oh, I'm sure it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does. But it doesn't need to be a biopic. It doesn't work as well as a biopic. I felt it didn't do it right.
Does it show him going to prison?
Yeah, at the very end.
Okay.
Yeah, like the way it came out was that like Tammy Faye actually wasn't that bad of a person. It turned out like Baker was the one that was like more manipulative and fucked up. I don't really know.
Okay.
I checked out kind of near the end of the movie, so it was like.
So the twist is that he was the more domineering mastermind.
I mean, she did some fucked up shit too, but they just had a fucked up relationship. And this is my other big problem with the movie is they're not characters you want to root for. So it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's hard to get invested in a biopic about two people that aren't particularly good people in a sense. And
you can
they're
make
not
that
fun
work
to watch.
You can make that work. You can have like really horrible, corrupt characters.
Example.
You're like, oh, what an example? A good example,
like as a biopic though, where you want to root for them
as a biopic.
You know what I'm saying? Like where you want to root. Oh yeah, I know what you're saying because like Tony Soprano is a bad
there
guy,
you go. Tony Soprano is a horrible human being.
Tony Montana, and then you get like this is why there's the way they are. Yeah, but like I don't know. Just I didn't want to root for either of these characters. They just kind of. To me, it's not fun to watch annoying people that are kind of manipulative and bad people for almost 2 hours. That gets old quick, where it's like, you got to give me someone to root for here. Because if I can't relate to either one of you, then why am I not just watching a documentary about you? Because I'd rather watch that. Because to me, a film is supposed to make you feel for the characters. You're supposed to put yourself into the story. A documentary is the exact opposite. You're supposed to step back and look at it from like a wide angle lens.
Yeah.
So I'd rather you did that. It doesn't work for me.
The other thing with biopics is like, how much do you blend fact and fiction? Because you can make it more interesting. Like you could hyper realize it, and then you could have this like narrative of like, well, this is what the director is trying to say with these characters or with these people's story. But then it's like, how accurate is that? Are we twisting it to where it's like almost fiction now, but we're just playing with these characters? That's interesting. But like you're saying, like if the characters aren't fundamentally that engaging to you, then it's like
it was a hard watch. It was a hard watch. Yeah, it didn't do very well. It was a flop. So I don't.
Was it really?
I don't think it did very well. It wasn't critically reviewed well.
Well, I thought it was like hair and makeup, and I think Jessica Chastain had some buzz.
Might have had some buzz for. I don't think either one of them ended.
Who directed this? It was a big director.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mark Skews. Mark directed this film. This is his feature film. Yeah, this is his first film. Yeah, first theatrical release.
Cool.
Yeah. If you don't know who Mark Skews is, you can see him on the fantastic podcast series, video podcast series called Slash Cinema. It's on this YouTube channel, so check it out.
It's a little overrated, I would say.
Very overrated. I like the one guy on that show. The other guy, the old guy, those opinions.
The old guy.
Mark listens to this.
Does he listen?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
he's gonna hear this. I'm sure I'm gonna get a text here in the future immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got to say about The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you would not recommend.
I'm not recommending it.
Okay,
No, I think it's a
yeah.
waste of your time. Yeah, I don't think it's fun to watch. I think the characters suck, and I think it would have been a way more. I don't think they paced out the true events. Like I don't think they paced it out properly, where it just feels like it's skipping around too much. It feels very disjointed. I didn't like the flow of it. I've watched other biopics that have way better flows.
Yeah, I feel like you've watched a lot of biopics.
I've watched a lot, actually. Yeah. It's funny as I'm like, I hate biopics. I like certain biopics. There's a certain type. Okay, there's the Oscar bait biopic, and then there's a biopic about like Motley Crue. That's actually what I was referencing. Is I just watched The Dirt.
Oh,
I'm gonna save that.
Yeah.
I don't want to because I don't have my notes here for that one.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
have you seen that one?
No, but I remember the book was huge back in like the 2000s.
Yes. It's a goodie. I'll save that for
Is that a
future
show?
discussion. No, it was a biopic movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It had actors. Dude, real life people acting.
Yeah.
How many picks do you have? Do you want me to do another one?
I just got a couple. I can throw one in now if you want.
Nah, let me go to my next one.
Sure. Yeah, do another
All
one.
right,
then.
let me do one more and then we'll throw it over to Kevin here. I think you might have seen this movie.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
So, from 2021, came out a couple years ago. It's a horror film.
Ooh. Okay.
This is The Black Phone.
I made you some breakfast.
What'd you put in that?
Salt and pepper.
Have you seen this boy?
My brother, he was taken.
By a man with black balloons.
I had a dream about it. Please let the dreams be real.
The Black Phone. I did not watch this.
Oh, you didn't watch
No,
it? Oh, really?
no.
I thought because I
Is
know
this
you're
Ethan Hawke?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I
Yes,
saw the trailers
Ethan Hawke
and stuff.
one. Yeah.
I looked up reviews for it and it was like, it seemed like it got a good buzz.
It did. Yeah, it did. It's solid. It's solid.
It's solid.
It's good. It's not bad.
It seems a little cheesy, the premise, though. Isn't it like he's
Okay, well,
a
let
mis-
me
okay,
get to it. Okay.
Just get into it.
So I thought for sure you would have watched this because
Why would you think I would be interested in this?
Because it's set in the 70s. It's shot like a 70s film. It's paced like a 70s film. It's all 70s aesthetic.
It seems very Stephen King kind of.
Very Stephen King feeling.
Yeah.
It's well done. It's very well done. It's not a masterpiece. It's not. I would say it's a very solid 7, maybe 7.5 out of 10. But that's a
Okay.
high review for me. That's a
Yeah.
high ranking. That's good. So it's set in the 70s, it's filmed like that too. It's like everything is like muted and like washed out colors.
That's
Like
cool.
the color palette is all like lowered.
Why did
There's
people
no
think
vibrant colors.
70s had no color? Like,
Because
why is that the aesthetic for the
you know what?
70s?
Because I think it's just the film grain around that time might have been like the way they were processing the film. I don't know.
This
I
is
know
the
what
thing.
you're saying, but yeah,
Why is
this
it
is the
like
thing.
there's certain cliches where it's like if it's in
the 80s,
Middle East,
you know,
it's
if
like
it's-
got
if-
the piss stain like washed out yellow, like you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about? Like
and if it's in the 80s, it's got to be bright neon
yeah,
colors.
neon and like crazy colors.
Yeah.
But then the 70s just gets lumped
Washed
with
out.
like washed out dull colors.
Yeah.
Like why? I don't know.
It was a time of washed out human beings.
The blank generation.
People-
Yeah.
Placeholder generation.
I belong to the blank generation. Remember that song?
People were very muted
Yeah.
in their
They
personalities.
just didn't trust, after Nixon, they
Yeah.
didn't trust the establishment, the
Yeah.
government anymore. They were just like, you know what, man?
Everybody was
They
just-
took all their colorful hippie clothes
Yeah.
and burned them. And then, the rest of the 70s was dull.
Dude, everybody was just so
gray.
grainy. It didn't rain, it just grained out.
Grain.
All right. So that's what it's set in. It's got that
Okay.
aesthetic. And it's set in like this, I think it's supposed to be like a small town or a small city, and there's a string of child abductions and murders.
Okay.
And the main antagonist of the movie, the one actually committing these crimes, is played by Ethan Hawke, referred to as the Grabber. Which
the Grabber.
I can't remember who names him. I don't remember if it's the media that does it or it's the kids. But anyways, he gets, I believe he doesn't call himself that. I'm pretty sure it's like, that's what people start saying. It's like, oh, the Grabber's going to get you.
Oh,
I could be misremembering this. It was a while ago I watched it. But
was he running for office?
Grabbed her in the pussy. Is that what you're referencing? Like, Jesus Christ, folks. This is what our show, this is like what episode 8 of Recently Watched, and this is what we've devolved to. Yeah. But Trump, is that what you were referencing? Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ.
How's he doing in the
You
primary?
mean President
yeah,
Trump?
President Grabber?
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you can just do that. Anyways, off topic. We're not
that
getting,
was good. That was
we're not
funny.
getting political on this show, all right? Do you know the majority of our audience, even though we are Canadian, the majority of our audience comes from
the United States of America?
No, comes from fucking the Middle East, dude. We are big
Yeah,
overseas.
Big overseas, yeah.
No, it's from the States, yeah, obviously.
Okay.
Most of our listeners and most of our viewers are actually from the States.
It'd be cool if it was like Scandinavia or something like that.
Like Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, how do you get on those like algorithms where you just wind up?
How do you get on those watch lists?
We're actually huge and
yeah, we're very big with like
the Balkans,
with militia groups overseas that find our banter humorous. Yeah. That would be funny if we just for whatever reason had like a strong presence, like a strong viewership in just a bizarre country.
Yeah,
kind of like Hasselhoff's big in like Germany or whatever.
Or there's Japan. There's a lot of actors.
Oh yeah, there's
American
weirdly
actors
big in Japan.
Go to Japan. They do.
There's a whole song about it. Big in Japan.
Yeah, they do like coffee, like commercials and stuff like that. We could.
Anyways, the Grabber.
All right.
So the Ethan Hawke's character, he kidnaps a kid, and he puts him in the basement, and the basement is just like stereotypical, like exactly what you'd think of like it's like all concrete walls.
Is he in a cage or is he just in the basement?
He's in the basement.
The door's locked.
And it's got like a big heavy steel door with like heavy duty locks.
Okay.
And it's all concrete walls. There's one window, but it's like way up. It's like a tiny little window. It's all soundproofed.
Yeah.
So it's like
this is a small kid. He can't
exactly
break anything. Or,
right.
Yeah.
And it's all concrete walls anyways. And there's like a dirty mattress on the floor. It's like something out of a Saw movie. It's exactly what you'd think of like where a kidnapped victim would be.
Yeah.
They're going to be in one of these like, kidnap rooms.
Does it from the promotional stuff? He's wearing like a mask.
So let me get to that.
Okay.
So he, the Grabber wears like these. He wears like a black suit and like a top hat, and he wears these stone-faced masks that all have. They're very haunting looking.
Jesus.
Whoever designed the character design for the Grabber is fantastic. It's very good. I like these like stone face masks. I think they look great. He's got like a few different ones that all kind of. I think it's speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil.
Oh,
I think
see.
that's the three
There's a
ones
theme
because
going
one of them
on.
doesn't have a mouth and one of them has like a big smile. I could not be remembering that correctly, but yeah.
there's like variants to
to the masks. Yeah, and
Okay.
when he's interacting with his victims, he wears the mask.
Oh, okay.
So Ethan Hawke, like when he kidnaps the kid. He's not in that outfit. He's like Ethan Hawke.
Just looks like a normal guy.
He looks like a normal guy, and that's how he's able to get his kids. He's like, he has like a van, and he's like drops his groceries, and then like some kid like
Silence
comes
of the
up,
Lambs thing.
and then he
Can
like
you help me lift this into
exactly,
the
yeah, exactly. Yeah. My name's Kevin Lackner. Can you help me? Can you help me move some furniture?
Help me move some furniture.
Fucking Buffalo Bill over here. So. The kid, the main kid whose name I can't remember, let's call him Finn. I don't remember what it is. So like he is stuck in this basement, and there's a mysterious black phone on the wall
In the basement.
Okay. and it's not connected to anything. And it's just like an old rotary style phone that's like black. And at some point, presumably at some point, like the basement was used for something else and that phone would have served a purpose. But now it's just like hanging there doing nothing and it's not even hooked up. And he says to the kid, he's like, yeah, don't bother using the phone. Like it's not hooked up anyways. Like, you know, you're here now for the time being. And as long as you play nice, I'm not going to hurt you. Ethan Hawke in this film is really good as a villain.
I can see that.
He is menacing as fuck. He is so terrifying. He has that understated, like, quiet monster presence.
Yeah.
Where he's wearing these masks and he kind of like talks soft spoken, like, don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. Just listen to what I have to say. But then when he needs to, he's gonna get it real dark and he's gonna talk like this, like that will come out, and it's like a Joker, like Heath Ledger kind of performance. Where you're just like, you get those moments of like, look at me, and you're like, ugh, and it catches you off guard. But he's very good. He nails it in this. So
he's really committed to this role. Then he's like all in.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
He is the highlight of this film. Everyone is honestly really good at this. I can't remember the actor's name. I kept thinking it was one of the Stranger Kids things, but it's Stranger Things kids.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It wasn't. It's not like Finn Wolfhard. Maybe that's why I thought his name was Finn. But I can't remember. Everyone is good in this though. So he is now stuck in the basement, and he hears the phone ring.
Here we go.
So
it's like supernatural.
Yes,
stuff.
and I didn't know this. So, spoilers. Now it's going to get into heavy spoilers.
Okay.
So,
Spoiler noise.
If you don't want the spoiler noise, it's a man farting. if you don't want any more spoilers, skip to the next time code in the description, and we'll get on to whatever Kevin's pick is here. But now for the spoilers.
Okay.
I didn't know this. I actually never watched a single trailer for this.
No, I knew that there was supernatural stuff.
So it is in the trailer.
I believe so, or maybe I read something.
It must have been.
I don't know.
It must have
I knew
been.
there was something supernatural.
It must have been, but all I saw was the image of Ethan Hawke in that fucking mask, because I'm pretty sure it's the poster. It's like him with like black balloons and that fucking horrifying outfit, which again, great character design. As someone that's a avid horror fan, if you can come up with an original creation, that's hard to do. That's like really cool and creepy looking. They did it. They got that's a new cool movie monster, as they say.
Yeah. Okay, so the phone rings. This kid
So the
answers.
phone rings. This is when I was like, oh, this is supernatural? I didn't watch the trailer. I didn't know. it was set in the 70s. I didn't know a fucking thing. That's the way to watch films, folks. Go in cold, because, man, you get rewarded. So phone rings. He picks up the phone, and the voice is a previous victim of the grabber. It's one of the other kids.
Like the soul of like a dead kid?
Yes. Talking to him through the phone.
From the beyond.
Beyond.
Okay.
And basically what follows, like the way this film proceeds, is there's investigators trying to find the boy because they know he's been kidnapped. They're trying to get to him.
Do we get a sense of his like family? Is his
so he has
his parents are looking for him.
So his mother's dead. He has a sister who's actually psychic, and she gets like
it's really supernatural.
It's very supernatural. Yeah. So she gets like prophetic visions, like through dreams, and she is trying to like zone in on her brother through her dreams. Like she's trying to find him. They're young. I would say they're like maybe 12, 13.
Okay.
Like these are not teenagers. They're like probably like preteens, you know? So she's trying to find him. And the way it plays out is it's almost like an escape room that he's trying to get out of this place by talking to the previous victims, because each of them has a piece of information to share with him.
Oh, that's super cool.
It's
that's
really cool.
That's a great script.
So like one of the kids is like, I hid a piece of wire over in that corner. Try to use it to climb up to hook onto the window grate and pull it off and get out the window. Like each of them gives him little tips and information that he uses to try to escape. And I like this. Not all of it's good info because it didn't work out for them. Or
well, yeah, they presumably were all murdered, right?
yeah, they're all dead.
Okay.
He's talking to ghosts.
Yeah.
And
so the idea,
but some of them also didn't get to enact their plan, so they don't know if it would work or not. They're just trying to be helpful.
Yeah.
So like I think 2 or 3 of the plans that some of the kids tell to the Finn character, they don't work. Like the one that's like, oh, use it to hook on the window grate and you can get up onto the window. He has no way to get up to it. It's too high up and it's so small. So that plan doesn't end up working. And some of them, I don't want to spoil everything, but by the end of the movie, he's talked to like all of the victims and they've all given him a little piece of something and he uses it to come up with a master plan. And it's very fucking satisfying.
Yeah, that's got to be satisfying to have like this whole plan come together.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't expect this kid to escape this like adult
This monster.
serial killer. Yeah.
So I want to talk about, so all the acting's good, cinematography's good, it's a very good, entertaining film. One of the other things that really caught me off guard with this film, and I actually think this is a valid warning for people, if you do not like watching violence against children, do not watch this movie.
Oh,
It caught me off guard. So
that's a good point. So there's actual like depictions of like torture or violence towards kids.
So no, so what they do show that's like, holy shit. So there's several scenes where like the bully kids, this is like outside of the whole main plot of him being kidnapped.
Yeah.
The like bully kids will like beat him up.
Oh, yeah.
It's like at one scene, him and his sister get beaten up by a group of bullies. All of the violence of the kids in the movie is shot like brutally realistic.
Oh.
Like it feels like something out of like No Country for Old Men, where it's just like
it's just stark showing you the brutality of what is happening. There's no cutting away.
It's stark realism. It's not filmic at all. It just feels like very grounded and brutal and real. And it's like, holy shit. Like it caught me off guard. So that's surprising. The other thing is their father. So their mother's dead. She actually killed herself. And it basically like drove their father to like alcoholism, and he's like the stereotypical like piece of shit deadbeat dad.
Okay.
And he beats his kids.
Ugh,
and there's a few scenes of him like abusing the kids. It's like it's very uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't put that in there. I'm not saying that at all because that is a thing and maybe it's something we need to see. But it is a warning to people that it's like if you don't want to see violence against kids, don't watch this.
It's only natural that some things like are hard to watch for some people. Like that's totally valid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the tone of this movie is blunt and realistic. It's not it's very like at times like there's a scene with Ethan, like it gets shockingly dark at a lot of moments. Like there's a scene where at one point the kid escapes, but like Ethan Hawke actually tackles him and like is able to subdue him right before he's able to get away.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "I will gut you like a pig and strangle you with your intestines," which is like, holy fuck, like to a kid.
Yeah.
It's really fucking dark. But my major problem with this film, this whole character should have just been removed from the movie. Ethan Hawke, it turns out, is living with like his brother, and his brother's like a drug addict, and he's like goofy, and he's like a conspiracy theorist. And
what?
Yeah, and it's like all of his scenes just ruin the tone of the movie, where he's supposed to be like this comedic relief, and it's like, why? This was a bad decision. So like at one point, the detectives are like scouring the neighborhood, and they find Ethan Hawke's house where the kid's being captive.
Yeah.
And the brother...
So there's a tense scene where they're at the door, they knock at the door, and they're like...
But like the brother, it's so stupid. So like the brother is like, yeah, I'm going to help you guys. He's like, he has like a whiteboard like full of newspaper articles and shit. And he's like, I've been following this. And he's like, I'm trying to triangulate the location of the grabber. And it's like, meanwhile, it's like, he's like, I'm an amateur detective. Like I'm helping you guys. And they don't buy anything he's saying because he's acting like aloof and wild and nuts, right? Meanwhile, his brother is the grabber. It's like,
Well,
you're the amateur detective, but you couldn't figure that out.
So is
because
it
he's like a drug addict.
It's played for comedic effect.
Yes, I think it's supposed to be.
Is the idea that he truly doesn't know that his brother is
he doesn't
the killer?
know. Right, he has no idea.
It's not that he's covering.
No, he genuinely does not know. He's so stupid to not see how weird Ethan Hawke is acting.
That seems like a bad.
It was a
addition.
terrible decision. Terrible decision. That whole character that should have just been cut right out of the movie.
I also feel like
down a bit.
I also feel like I know it's supernatural. I know it's like hyper realized and stuff. But like if detectives came to the door and you found this like manic man that was like, yeah, I've like triangulated all this stuff. And he has like a whiteboard of newspaper clippings of like the murders. I would investigate that man. Like, why would you blow that off? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
Wouldn't you be like, there's a guy who's like has all these clippings and papers and he's like triangulating things and he's like seems insane.
Yeah, maybe they think he's the one.
Wouldn't that sort of
I don't know.
Have a spotlight on you? Be like, maybe he's more involved.
I can't remember 100% how that scene played out, but it was just it was a dumb. His character is a dumb addition to the movie, and it to me it derailed the tone that was being set so beautifully, and it just all of his scenes just come out of like, it's crap. It was very popular. This is where I'm like, huh? They greenlit it for a sequel.
Whoa, okay.
I don't know where the fuck you go with it because you want a huge spoiler or you want to watch the movie?
Spoil me, yeah.
Seemingly the grabber gets killed by the kid. So I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I guess horror movies, nobody ever really, like the monster never really dies.
No one ever
but like,
really dies.
He has this huge plan and he ends up like getting the grabber like trapped, and then he strangles the grabber with the phone cord from the black phone.
Okay.
And like you see him seemingly like die from being strangled. The only explanation I can come up with is either somebody else takes up the mantle or Ethan Hawke was faking that he got strangled. Like,
I mean,
that's possible.
It's supernatural, so I feel like anything's possible.
Maybe.
I
don't know.
He comes back as a ghost.
I don't know where they. Oh,
maybe.
Okay. So one of the things I like in the movie that's like, oh, that was such a fucking cool little detail, is early in the movie, Ethan Hawke's like, yeah, don't bother trying to use that phone. It doesn't work. It's just a messed up old phone. And then later on, one of the kids is trying to explain to the kid on the phone. He's like, yeah. He's like, the grabber hears it too. He just pretends not to.
What?
So they're implying that the grabber. So the way I interpret it was that because the main kid's sister is psychic. So I interpret that he has some sort of medium ability. And that's why he's able to use the phone and communicate with the other spirits. But they imply that the grabber also has some weird ability, but he's ignoring it. I love that little detail.
Okay.
Yeah, that detail is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, yeah, don't bother using that phone. It doesn't work. He's almost like trying to convince himself he can't hear the phone ringing.
Interesting.
Yeah. The grabber hears it too. He just pretends he doesn't, which is like, what? That's such a neat little detail they added. Yeah. It's good. I would highly recommend The Black Phone.
Oh, cool.
It's surprisingly good. Yeah. It's Blumhouse. You know, sometimes they do okay stuff.
Yeah.
I actually don't hate Blumhouse because I like Blumhouse's business model is the same business model of the late great Canon films.
They're a workhorse.
Yeah. Make a bunch of films for low budgets that are still quality, and some of them become major hits, and some of them surprise you. And for me, this was a surprise. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna definitely watch the sequel. I want to see where they go with it.
Yeah.
So highly recommend The Black Phone.
Cool. I'll probably check that out because if there's a sequel, then I'm like, where is that gonna go?
Yeah. and me telling you the ending, I'm not ruining anything. It's still very enjoyable to watch it play out. I'm curious what you think. Definitely give it a watch. I thought that one had been one that cracked through your, your horror defense shield, your Blumhouse gate.
Well, speaking of horror, I've got one to talk about.
Oh, is that all right?
Yeah.
On to Kevin's pick.
Okay, I just got back last night from watching MaXXXine.
I'm curious, did you always want to be in that line of work?
I always wanted to be famous.
If you need to read off the sides we gave you, just go ahead, all right?
I know the lines.
She turns to the camera and, through her trauma, addresses the lens directly.
Name 5 celebrities who got their start in horror movies.
Jamie Lee Curtis, John Travolta, Demi Moore, Brooke Shields, and
MaXXXine fucking Minx.
I fucking knew you were going to talk about this. I fucking knew it. Because you gushed about X and Pearl so hard. I knew it. I was like, Kevin's going to go. I'm like, one of the things he's going to want to talk about is MaXXXine.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Friday night, screening room. Just got back with a group of friends last night. We all went to see it.
So before you get into that.
Yeah, I wanted, before we even talk about it, I guess one of our last episodes, we talked about Pearl.
We talked
right?
about X and Pearl like 2
X and
episodes
Pearl.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
We went through both of them because I had seen
You
X.
had seen...
I had seen X and you had...
you had not seen Pearl.
I hadn't seen Pearl. You had
Okay.
seen Pearl.
Okay.
I have not seen MaXXXine with the triple X. So it's triple X-ine, MaXXXine. So obviously you're going to gush about it.
Well.
Ooh.
Hold your horses.
I've heard very mixed things about it. It did not get very good reviews. I know a lot of people were feeling like he dropped the ball on the third entry.
Yeah.
And you are agreeing with this.
I would kind of, that's where I'm going with.
It's very unfortunate.
This will not be a gushing, glowing review.
You're going to talk about
I'm not
its
going to
pros
shit
and
on
cons.
it.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Pros and cons. Okay.
So before we get into that, did you want to talk about Pearl or X or anything? Or?
Well, we already covered those, but I was
Okay.
going to say, before we get into that, let's take a lunch break. And
sure.
And we will return
Okay.
and talk about the gritty, 1980s,
1985.
Hollywood, dirty streets of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. We will return. This podcast is sponsored by the fine folks at Fly By Night Movies, Games, and Toys. Fly By Night Movies, Games, and Toys is your one-stop shop for everything cool and collectible. We are located in the heart of downtown Oshawa. That is Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. If you're looking for movies, video games, and toys, check us out. We are worth the drive. And we're back. We just went to Fat Bastard Burrito and got ourselves some tasty treats for lunch.
Sponsors of the podcast.
Potential future sponsors. Let's not jump to any conclusions, but yeah, Mark and I are trying to get Dairy Queen right now.
Dairy Queen?
Dude, Dairy Queen rips. Dairy Queen is lit.
Well,
as the kids like to
until
say.
the check comes through, they're okay. They're just
Until the check comes through. What are you
until they
talking about?
pay you. Don't give them free press. Don't be like, they're amazing.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know how I feel.
I'm not
about-
really sure how I feel about it. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, back to MaXXXine.
Oh yeah, okay.
You forgot what you were talking about.
So yeah, last night I went and saw MaXXXine in the small theater.
So this
The
is
indie theater.
2024. This is brand new.
Brand new, yeah.
Yep.
So in a previous episode, we talked about X and Pearl, and you saw X.
Yep.
But you have not watched Pearl.
To reiterate, X is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre homage film. It's meant to be. It's set in the 70s.
Oh
or
yeah,
60s.
it's very much a 70s homage to those like
grindhouse
horror films.
Pearl is a prequel to X and follows the villain and antagonist of X
as a young woman.
Yep.
In 1919 or 1920.
Both played by Mia Goth.
Yep.
And now,
but Pearl is also a throwback. It's set in like 1920, but it's shot and filmed like a 1940s,
like Technicolor,
Technicolor, like
musical type,
like Wizard of Oz type thing. Yeah.
And then now we got MaXXXine, which I'm gonna assume is shot like an 80s horror film.
Yeah, so this is director Ty West. This is the third film he's completing the trilogy, I guess, with Mia Goth. I think they also like produced and wrote them together as well. She's been in all three. This is the slick mid 80s sequel to X. So whereas Pearl was a prequel, this is now a direct sequel. The same character, MaXXXine Minx.
The only one that survives the events of X.
She's the only one who survives the horrific events of the first film. She makes her way to Hollywood, and now she's trying to break through from the porno industry to become a legitimate movie star on the mean streets of Hollywood. So, what did I think of this movie? I think, how do I put this? sometimes you wish and you hope for something, and then when it finally comes, you're like,
it's not quite you want it to be.
I was so excited for this movie, like when the
kind of like Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah, it's like
when I was a kid.
What's the phrase? Be careful what you wish for, I guess, because like when the teasers dropped for this, I was like, oh man,
perfect.
Like, we were coming off of Pearl, and I fucking love Pearl so much. I think that movie's like a borderline modern masterpiece, and like. I was like, oh, he's going to do it again. This is amazing. We get more, and it's going to be like super 80s. Like it's like a love letter to 80s.
How could this go wrong? How could he fuck this up?
But I really think by now, I think I'm just a little done with like 80s parody and homage. Like this movie is like right off the bat.
80s exploitation shit.
80s exploitation. It just slams you right in the face. Like from the jump, we've got like a montage of like neon, and like, we get the 80s like needle drops,
soundtrack,
synth like ding, and then like Ronald Reagan, and then like all, part of the movie is talking heads on the TVs being like, "There's a killer on the loose." So part of the plot is Maxine's trying to make her way in Hollywood. She's trying to become a movie star, and then all around her, there's this mysterious Night Stalker killer.
Which is an actual thing that happened.
Yeah, that was a real thing that happened. Yeah. So they're blending reality and fiction because as she's trying to navigate Hollywood, she has this agent that's helping her. She's the opening scene, she is applying excuse me. The opening scene, she's auditioning for the role in The Purifier 2, which is a sequel to this like fake, like big horror blockbuster that's becoming a franchise.
Yep.
And she nails the audition, but then as she's gaining fame and gaining traction, people around her are starting to disappear or be murdered potentially by the Night Stalker, but also potentially by this dark force from her past. So it's a mystery thriller, 80s slasher.
What do you mean dark force? You mean by her?
By her? What do you mean?
Like, I assumed the implication was she was killing off her competition.
No, she's not killing people.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
No, maybe that I don't know. I don't know if we want to get into spoilers for this or not. It's very new.
Well,
I mean,
why
it
don't
just
you?
came
Yeah,
out.
keep going, and then once we hit the spoiler territory, because we can get into spoilers. Because I don't really care as much. I'm not attached to these films.
I don't know if you can tell maybe by the tone of my voice, but I'm not like wowed by this movie.
You weren't
I'm not
blown
gushing
away.
about it. I was not blown away. I found it to be sort of just like almost by the numbers ish, like parodying 80s stuff, and it's like we're almost in like a post Stranger Things world now, where we've been so saturated in nostalgic fucking movies and shows and media that's being like, remember the 80s? Remember 1985?
That's why they're getting into the 90s exploitation now. We're starting to see 90s nostalgia films.
And I guess that's just a cultural thing that's like everything comes back
the
around.
The 80s did it with the 50s.
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing.
It's like once you hit that 30-year or more mark, it's like, well, let's bring this back. Yeah. Let's re-explore and reinvestigate this time period.
It never got better, buddy. After the 80s, that was it.
That was the peak.
It peaked. Society and civilization, human pop culture, peaked in the 80s.
And this movie is just seeped in 80s. It's just literally, if you think 1985, this movie is just like slamming you in the face with it. Are there like references? Are they just like, hey, you want to go see Karate Kid? At the cinema? Like, is it like shit like that? She walks past what's it? St. Elmo's Fire is like on the billboard. That's 84, 85, and the soundtrack of that is playing, and they're talking about like upcoming stuff. She goes to the movie lot, and part of the movie takes place on the set of
Purifier 2?
No, on the set of Psycho. The Bates Motel.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
There's spoilers, I guess, but there's part of like a little chase sequence, and part of the plot happens in the house of the Norman Bates house on the hill.
Well, that's not really 80s exploitation though, because that movie's from the fucking Psycho 1 is what, 56?
That's from the early 60s, yeah. But she's running
61?
through sets, like she's on the Hollywood lot.
That's just kind of cool.
It is kind of cool, but there's parts of the movie where she's running through the film sets and lots of all these. Obviously I caught Psycho,
yeah,
but I believe she runs through, or walks through the town hall or the town square of Back to the Future. I want to say.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I know exactly.
Yeah,
with the clock tower. Yeah, I know.
I
the one
believe-
they use in all 3 films.
I
yeah.
think that's part of it. She's wandering through. There's so much of this is like drenched in.
This sounds like the Universal backlot. Is what you're describing?
Yeah,
Like
it
Universal
must
Studios
be. I
backlot.
don't know studios in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a specific studio. This movie's like I keep saying, drenched in 80s nostalgia, drenched in Hollywood nostalgia. It's very much a sort of meta, like this is what it's like in the Hollywood sphere.
Sure.
This is how you get in. This is how you make it, kind of thing.
Do they have these stereotypical like sleazy producers? Like, well,
Yes.
honey, you're gonna want this role. You know, you're gonna have to do a favor for me, like that.
Not
kind of
like
shit.
that. It is modernized in a
Take
sense.
off your clothes now, god damn it! Like that kind of shit.
You joke, but
Is that actually in it?
Part of the opening of the film is she has to audition, and she nails this. Like Mia Goth has this wonderful, like sort of POV performance where they're like, "Do you need help with the lines?" She's like, "No, I have the lines memorized." And she just like looks into the camera and auditions,
And just nails it.
and just nails this scene with this haunting, emotional performance. Like her eyes well up with tears, and she's saying these like dramatic lines, which sound like they're like the climax of the film that like the part is for. And then right as it ends, they're like, "That was great. Can you take off your top so we can see your tits?" Like, we're going to need to see them.
Yeah.
That's like, holy shit. Like,
Well, you know, it depends on the role, buddy.
The
It depends on
misogyny
role,
of the
you know?
time and
It-
stuff.
It depends on the role. Like,
It's interesting.
I know
But
it
then they
sounds
counter-
awful to say, but if you're gonna have to do nudity in a movie,
Yeah, it's just,
you will have to show it.
it's-
But the way they're portraying it is that they're just sleazy pieces of shit.
well, it's played matter of fact. It's played like that's what it was like. And like, it's dark, but for better and worse, this is the world.
Does
that she-
Mia Goth actually should go nudity in this?
I believe so. I
I
think
don't know.
so.
Did she do nudity in X?
I think so. Yeah, there's a shot from.
I don't remember.
They use a shot from X, and I believe there's nudity. Yeah, I can't. I think so. It's not a heavy focus of the film,
No, obviously,
actually.
yeah.
I don't know.
I was curious.
I'm trying not to ramble, but I don't want to spoil too much either.
Well,
like
let's
you're
get into
saying.
spoilers now.
Okay.
All right, spoilers, folks. If you don't want anything spoiled, go to the go watch something else on YouTube. All right, watch just some other fucking video.
All right, so spoilers for MaXXXine. So, her friends in Hollywood are other like working women. They're working at this seedy like dive bar / like strip club.
Yep.
And they're all like, "Oh, we can make it if we just get like a rich man, like a rich dentist or doctor, or if we meet people and make connections, maybe we can get ourselves into bigger films or just settle down." Like, they're working girls. They're trying to make it in this rough and tough like world. So she notices, she nails this audition, but her friends are like, "Yeah, there's this big party up in the Hollywood Hills. We got invited. Do you want to come?" And she's like, "No, I got to work. I got to work on this new film project." They're like, "Oh, okay." Sure enough, the next day, her friends wind up dead, covered in like these satanic symbols.
Here we go.
So then we've got the Satanic Panic,
Okay.
which was a big moral panic in the 80s of like Satanism.
Right.
So not only is there the Night Stalker luring in the background, there's also the fact that these women are turning up with their bodies mutilated with like satanic symbolism in them and stuff. And so then we were introduced to these two like detective characters from LAPD, and they think that there's some connection. Mia Goth must know something, or MaXXXine must know something. It's her friends that are going missing. And she's like, "I don't talk to cops." She doesn't trust the police because she's got something to hide, obviously, her dark past.
That's my question with the result of X. Are they looking for her? Is she a fugitive
Well, that's
at
the thing.
large?
Yeah, so-
or do they leave that ambiguous?
They leave it ambiguous at first, but it's implied that she escaped the events. Nothing was traced to her. She basically moved
Well,
to...
she was a victim, though.
Oh, she's a
in that.
victim, yeah, but at the same time...
She did run from a crime scene. Yeah.
She ran from a crime scene, and it's not clear if she was involved with it somehow or if she killed
she's
anybody.
They need answers.
There's bodies,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they need answers.
They need
yeah.
answers, yeah.
So as she starts to make it in Hollywood, she nails this big audition, and the director is a woman.
Okay.
And she's played by another really great actress. I don't know her name, but I believe she might have played Princess Diana in The Crown.
Kristen Stewart?
No, that's in a film. I don't think that's The Crown. She played Princess Diana in a movie.
Kristen Stewart? I don't know who you're talking about.
Anyway, really great actress. And she's like this empowered, like feminist director who's trying to make a name for herself as well. But she's like, here, we'll look it up here.
No, keep talking. I'm going to look up who this lady is.
She wants to make the ultimate magnum opus horror film that's both the pinnacle of the genre, but also progressive and has a artistic message. So she's very driven and focused on this goal. And she thinks that MaXXXine's character is the perfect role for this. So there's all this stuff going on with the production. Meanwhile, these people are turning up dead. MaXXXine has a fake out where she walks home from.
Is it this woman, Elizabeth
Debicki?
Debicki?
Yes.
Is that she? Because she looks like she would be like a director.
She's the like domineering, but
oh, she was in the Great Gatsby remake, the one with Tobey Maguire.
She's the kind of scary director that's like, you better show up on time or it's your ass. So MaXXXine has all this pressure to perform.
Yeah, she was Princess Diana in The Crown.
She was,
yeah.
Okay. So there's all this pressure on MaXXXine where she can't fuck this up. This is her one chance. If she blows it, then she'll never work in this town again, kind of thing. There's a fun fake out in the movie early where she gets followed home at night, and you think, oh shit, it's going to be the Night Stalker. But it just turns out to be some random jackass, and he pulls a knife on her. And then MaXXXine pulls a fucking gun on him and is like, you think this is the first time someone's tried to kill me? It's like, holy
good callback. That
great callback.
She's tough as nails.
She's tough as nails.
She went through hell.
Yeah.
So now at this point.
So that's fun. So she's like, to counter like kind of what you were asking, you were like, oh, is she going to be a killer? Or like, is she kind of going to be a villain? Almost saying, no. MaXXXine is very much portrayed as she's a survivor.
Okay.
She's survived these horrific events, and now she's like tough as nails, and like
that's better.
Like,
I like that better. Yeah.
And her whole goal, which is a callback to X, is the saying from the videotape that her father made of her, and her whole phrase where she's like, "I will be a star," and she's like, I can't exactly remember it, but she has some saying that she says to herself, like some affirmation where she's like, I will not accept a life that I do not deserve, or something like that. She has this saying that she keeps saying to herself. So that's her character. So then she starts getting the mysterious messages and letters that are connected to her past. So she gets off set and goes.
Somebody's like threatening to blackmail her.
Someone's
basically.
blackmailing. Yeah. She walks to her car and she's a note on her car, and it's like a picture of her as a child and like her address, and it's like, I know who you are, kind of thing. Meet me at this hotel at 2:00. So she's like, oh shit, okay, this person must know about the events of X or about my past. She goes and she meets a seedy, drunken, greasy detective played by Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, I knew about this. Yeah.
And he is dressed as one of my friends caught when we watched it last night. He's dressed exactly like Jack Nicholson from Chinatown. So it's another film like Hollywood reference. He's in the same suit, and he's like, he's like a weird, greasy Southern detective. Where he's like, listen here, honey. Like, my employer knows about you. And he's like, you've got a dark past. You better do what we say, And she tries to bribe him off. She's like, what do you want? Do you want money? I can get you money. And he's like, oh, it isn't about money. Like, what we have on you is like, you can't buy your way out of this. So it's like nebulous.
What do they want?
I don't really. They want her to. I don't know. I think he wants her to meet up with his employer, but she keeps pushing it off.
And what exactly do they have on her though? Just that she was connected to the events of X?
He gives her a videotape, and part of the videotape is like the raw footage from what they were shooting in X.
And
like
it
part
shows
of
her, obviously.
Shows her in like the porno tape that they were trying to shoot. So I guess there would be evidence from that.
Right, of course, yeah.
Like after all the murders, someone left those cameras and that footage on that like farm or whatever it was. So he has some of that tape. And so she's thinking, well, fuck, I'm just about to make it into Hollywood. If they blackmail me,
jeopardize my career.
This will ruin my career. Meanwhile, she's like this is all going on. It's really, they don't immediately like they threaten her and blackmail her, but then he just proceeds to continue to just monitor her from like the sidelines, and he keeps like stalking her.
Sure.
But it's not like immediately clear that they're like, this is what we want. So the movie kind of drags a bit, to be honest. Like we're just kind of, if it sounds like it, that's what it sounds like. We're kind of just following her day to day as she's doing her thing.
This feels like a 2-hour runtime film, is it?
It's like an hour 45 or something like that.
And see, like that is an eternity in horror movies.
Is
like,
it?
Oh, anything past 90 minutes is like,
yeah.
For horror movies, every minute past 90 is like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's honestly what it's like for horror films. So it's like you better fucking earn that extra runtime.
If what I'm describing sounds like it's dragging a little, it's because it kind of does. It's like what's filling this screen time is like what I'm describing mixed with like shots of like 80s stuff. Like she's like walks past like this building and there's people doing like karate in the building.
Right.
And it's like, why else are we seeing this other than to show that like, yeah, in the 80s, everyone was into karate.
Thing.
People loved karate.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, why are we seeing?
So there's a lot of member berries bullshit, like that kind of shit.
Yeah, but
like it doesn't feel as natural.
And this
if you're gonna do that, you gotta do it subtle.
Yeah,
like you can't be bonking you on the head with it.
Like so, she walks past a marquee, and it's like St. Elmo's Fire is premiering. It's like this at this point, I'm trying to give the movie, like I'm trying to engage with it, but I'm disengaging, and I'm starting to watch the film in real time, where I'm like, okay, is this like a meta thing? How am I supposed to be perceiving this? Right. This is a 2024 film, but we're in the 80s, but we're parodying the 80s. But are we am I supposed to take it seriously?
Yeah.
Because then all of the horror stuff is shot exactly beat for beat and cinematography wise, like Brian De Palma.
Okay.
So you've got this mysterious killer is following her, but we only ever see his like black leather gloves as they twist around knives and around like steering wheels as he's like following her, and it's literally shot like a Body Double or Dress to Kill. If you've seen those.
Yep.
Like, and so then I'm thinking, okay, there's got to be some crazy twist, like De Palma style, where it's and even De Palma with Dress to Kill is a reference to Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Ty West is trying to meta connect himself through the history of film all the way back to Psycho by going, do you remember Psycho? Do you remember Dress to Kill? Well, now it's MaXXXine. This is 2024.
Right.
So it's trying to create this log line through all this history of horror films. I would be very curious to see your opinion of this film. I really think you should watch it because it's like...
I will. I probably won't like it,
yeah,
but I'll watch it.
There's a lot going on.
It sounds like it's just going to drag and I'm going to go, ugh.
I don't even know if I caught...
Pacing is so important to me.
I don't know if I caught half the references is what I'm trying to say. Like there's so much referential... stuff happening where I'm like, I know that's reference to Chinatown. That's, Psycho. I know that's a reference to De Palma, but there's so much of that going on. There's this other meta. I know I keep saying meta, but like there's this other character that's like a film buff that's friends with MaXXXine, and he works at a videotape store. And he's friends with MaXXXine because he's like a black gay dude. And MaXXXine, I think, makes a comment or he makes a comment where they're like, well, I'm the only guy who wouldn't try to fuck you kind of thing. It's like, okay, I guess. I can see where they're friends, but I don't need to be that on the nose. It's like, I don't know.
Sorry. I was going to interject and say, so what, like, why doesn't it work for you? Like, where did it come up short?
Well, I'm getting to this.
Okay.
This is a part of it. So we've got this, like, gay, black film buff guy, and he's reading Fangoria magazines.
Sure.
And he's like, yeah, this film's like this film. And, like, this is like this. Oh, you got cast in, because she wins the audition for Purifier 2. He's like, Purifier 2 was going to make, like, Nightmare 3 look like Nightmare 2. Or he's like referencing all these like film
80s
things,
horror films.
80s horror films. And I'm like, this is now so far into just like referential parodic meta-ness that I'm like, I don't know, like I'm just like completely disengaged from the movie, and I'm like, watching
It sounds like it feels like the characters like Mark or myself from Slash Cinema.
Yeah,
it sounds
it's like you're a character.
It sounds like a modern character being put in a period piece where it's like, yeah, you're a little too aware of everything for you to be in that period.
It's a bit, yeah.
I almost feel bad for these filmmakers though, because it's so hard to shoot something now in the past and not make it and people not see it cynically as like, oh, this is just nostalgia bait.
Yeah,
you know?
and I want
it's hard to do that earnestly now.
I want to engage
feels,
with it. Yeah,
you know, because like, okay, if you're gonna have a film buff in the '80s, why can't he talk about Ghostbusters and RoboCop and Predator, like Die Hard? Why can't he be talking about those? Why there would be movie nerds from the '80s? Of course there would be.
And I'm not saying there wasn't. I'm sure that characters like this and people like this existed, but it's just like. I want to engage with it earnestly, but it's like
But as soon as you have that character, it feels like a modern YouTuber. That's the problem.
Yeah. And but then it's weird because we have all the cliches and genre stuff happening. So naturally, all the people around MaXXXine get like horribly murdered and killed, including this like black gay character who's basically there. He only exists to like take the videotape from MaXXXine, like investigate it. And then he tells her, oh, well, the tape comes from the same location as the first movie. Like, it's a certain type of tape. She's like, I can't tell you who replicated it or who duped it or whatever. But he's like, I know this isn't a Japanese tape. And I know the distributor, it must be from the South. So it's like, he gives her a little bit of a clue, like half of a clue, and then is immediately slashed. He's killed by the killer who ends up being the final killer. So... we're playing in genre convention. We're playing in stereotypes. We're playing in the fucking 80s where like there was a final girl, right? There's all these cliches of 80s slasher horror films. But I was just surprised as like in 2024, I'm like, what does it say that the only black and gay character gets brutally murdered? Is that a commentary on the nature of the films of that time period? Or is it just like, it was odd? Like, it's weird to still be doing this, but then it's like, well, it's the 80s. That's what it was like. These other women and like gay people, they just get murdered. And there's always a final girl. But it's like, I'm just so tired of like people playing with these things, or it's like, I don't know. It pulled me out of the movie where now I'm just questioning the structural integrity of the film rather than.
It sounds like it was a little too meta and a little too deconstructive of the genre instead of just being a fun film set in the 80s.
Yeah, and it's not, and that's where we get into the next, my next sort of, I know I sound like I'm just criticizing and nitpicking and stuff, but it's like, these are all the things I'm thinking about watching it. I'm not engaged with like, ooh, is she going to survive? Ooh, this is really scary. Ooh,
yeah, because everything keeps pulling you out.
Every little thing just pulled me out and made me just like start thinking about, and that's not what should be happening. What should be happening is I should just be engaged in the narrative.
In the material.
Yeah.
You should be putting yourself in the film.
And I had a hard time with it watching this. Like, I wasn't scared by it. I don't know if it was like, it's aping all these horror movies, but it's not scary. It's not, it has two kind of gross out scenes, but only two, and they're quick. And so it's not like a horror schlock fest where you're like, whoa!
It's not a gore fest.
Yeah, there's one crazy scene, but it's short and quick. Yeah. And then you're left just drudging through her life, and like she's smoking and answering phone calls.
Does it have a satisfying ending?
The ending's super weird. So again, spoilers, but it turns out that the killer is her father from the tape in X.
Sure.
That was filming her as a small child, and he's like a evangelist preacher.
Yeah.
And he was filming his daughter, and he was like, "You got to be the best. If you want to be a star, you got to make it." Like,
right.
And so it turns out her father has tracked her down and was blackmailing her through the Kevin Bacon character. The Kevin Bacon character, by the way, also just durdles around and does nothing.
Because he has nothing to do.
MaXXXine feels threatened by him and so beats him up and punches him in the nose. And his nose gets broken, and that is an excuse to wear the thing on his nose like Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, literally an exact, you're just copying fucking Chinatown.
So she punches him in the nose, and that's an excuse to make him look exactly like Chinatown, like Nicholson's character.
Like,
so it's like, what?
That's not a clever homage. That's just copying something. At a certain point, like, it's a fine line between homage and inspired by and direct copy and duplicating. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'm not saying I have the
you gotta
answer.
be subtle. No, you gotta be subtle, man. You can't just
Yeah.
exactly like, look, he's wearing the thing. He's wearing the thing. It's
Yeah.
like, no, you can't do that.
So he doesn't really do anything. He threatens her some more. Eventually, it culminates in he's chasing her. Like, that's where he chases her through the film lot, and he chases her right up into the psycho house.
Yeah.
And then security shows up, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, I just got lost." And then it just like is a nothing burger. Like, she escapes, and then so the
So the
filming.
Night Stalker is her father?
No, it actually isn't the Night Stalker.
Oh.
It turns out that it's just he was also murdering people.
But but they thought those crimes.
I guess they thought they were connected. I may have misinterpreted this.
Oh,
So by
okay.
the end, it's just like whatever.
Okay.
It turns out that her
Kevin
father.
liked this movie a lot.
It turns out that her father has come back from her past, and he's a murderous preacher man who has a cabal of like Christian cult followers, and they've bought a property in the Hollywood Hills and are inviting all the people that know MaXXXine up to this house at night, and then like forcing them to confess their sins.
Okay, this sounds like another obscure 80s horror
This
movie.
must be a
called-
reference.
This sounds like Deadly Blessings, which is an obscure 80s horror
Oh, is
film.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Deadly Blessings.
So
It's
this-
Blessing or Blessings?
This Christian evil cult, and they're like, confess your sins to the devil. And okay, there you go. Yeah.
Deadly Blessing, this movie.
Yeah,
It sounds
so-
like what's what you're describing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're marking the girls with pentagrams and like chopping their bodies up and stuff when they refuse to reveal that they've been possessed by the devil. And
Dude, my new movie is every movie.
So
Not
eventually
to shit on T.I. West, but
well, part of the narrative is like MaXXXine's like she's the tough, gritty last girl. She's like, I got to make it on my own. I got to pull myself up by my bootstraps. You know, no one else is going to do it for me but me. And then these detectives are like, don't you want to help these other girls, MaXXXine? They're your friends. Like, all these other people are being murdered. Don't you care about that? And so in a very like stereotypical fashion, she finally has this moment where she's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, but it's weird because she takes like the director's like, take the weekend off. It's been stressful. I know your friends are dying. Take the weekend off, and on Monday we'll return. We'll start shooting for the film. She's like, okay. So she takes the weekend and concocts this plan with her manager, who's played by Giancarlo Stanton.
Okay.
Who he's like this quirky, like sleazebag Hollywood producer or manager.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's like, don't worry, baby, let me handle this. And they concoct this plan to trick Kevin Bacon into chasing her through a nightclub. And then Stanton and one of the thug guys from the strip club beat up Bacon, knock him out, take him to a junkyard, and then put him in a car and then crush the car, like murdering him.
Okay.
Inside the car. And he's
Right.
like, wait, no, please. And they're like, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
And just like fucking violently crush
of
him in a
course,
car
yeah.
and murder him. And it's like, I mean, cool, I guess. Okay. You've now like murdered this guy who was giving MaXXXine trouble.
Right.
But it's like, I don't know what the movie's trying to fucking say, because in the end, she confronts her evil, villainous father who's trying to. There's a huge 80s shootout, which is like almost like a Scarface style shootout where
Okay.
the detectives follow her to the house, and then they have this shootout with this Christian cult. And then she finally confronts her father and like blows his head off with a shotgun. And that's one of
Okay.
the other short, quick,
Yeah.
gross out scenes.
Yeah.
And then it ends with her being successful. And she's like, she survives, she makes it, she becomes a star.
like an 80s scream queen.
She becomes an 80s scream queen. And not only that, not only is she in this hit movie that's going to come out, but now she has this huge Hollywood story where she's like expose interviewed by reporters where they're like, what was it like to survive a real like cult that was
Yeah,
trying to,
yeah,
was
right.
murdering people?
Yeah,
This
it's
is
a
the
satire,
story.
yeah,
This is the
right.
story of the century. And it ends with her walking on the red carpet to the premiere at the Chinese theater. And a reporter is like, any words for like all the young girls out there that want to make it in Hollywood? And she reiterates her line where she's like, it's hard work. You gotta do it yourself. You gotta really work hard. And she's like, you know, it's like my daddy always said, I will not live a life that I do not deserve. And then it like ends sort of triumphantly, I suppose. But it's like, It's very 80s. I mean, again, I get that it's like the 80s were such a time period of like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Only you can make it. You got to do what you can to survive. But it's like, no, she had a sleazebag manager who was willing to help her murder a man and cover up the evidence. And she had like this thug guy that was also willing to like baseball bat the guy in the head and like take the body out and dispose it. And then she had the detectives helping her. And then she had her father and like all this other stuff. It's like, what is the message here?
You sound very conflicted about this movie. Like,
I don't know.
You want to like it a little bit, but you know it's not quite there. It's very janky.
It's janky. Yeah, it's weird.
It just misses the mark.
Yeah.
It's a little too,
I feel
sounds like it's too convoluted.
I'm talking circles, but
you are definitely talking circles.
It's so conflicted.
You sound very conflicted.
Mia Goth is great. Her acting's great.
Yeah.
Stanton is fun. He's chewing up the scenery.
Kevin
Bacon
sure
fucking
is
chews up the scenery. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
But like the end result is just a fucking parody of the 80s that doesn't feel like it really goes anywhere, and just it feels like it's like checking off numbers on a list of like, and here's the parody of this, and here's the reference to this, and this is a homage to this, and this is a homage to this. And then we'll end with a big 80s shootout like this.
Right.
And then we'll have a gory sequence like a Schlockfest movie. That'll be a reference to that. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, it didn't do much for me. Like, I was not engaged with it like I was with X or Pearl.
Would you recommend it?
I'd still recommend, like, watching it.
But would you... So, you're recommending it to me to watch.
I would say I would be very curious to hear your opinion of it. I think you should watch it.
So then,
like,
my next question is, do you watch this before you watch X or Pearl, or what do you do here?
It's canonically the third and final trilogy movie.
Right.
So it goes
if
X,
you
Pearl,
haven't seen X or
MaXXXine.
Pearl, don't watch this yet.
No. Watch X first, then watch Pearl, then watch this.
Okay.
Yeah. Pearl is by far the best one. Pearl is like amazing. This is much more similar to X.
Okay.
Like, and that's another thing that I was kind of disappointed by is like going into this, I wanted more of like Pearl.
The like really good acting,
amazing acting, really sort of like
monologues,
methodical pace, but like drives you through the narrative, and like the characters are really interesting. Like really focusing on like, I don't know. What I wanted was Pearl 2. What I got was like X2, but like not as good.
It's the best X-Men movie, buddy. Moving on. All right.
Anyway, that's MaXXXine. Check it out. It is like interesting, and it is kind of fun at parts, but ultimately I was disappointed by it.
It left you soft.
Yeah.
It left you flaccid. Okay.
Anyway,
moving on to my next pick, a movie that I bet you've never heard of, from 2022.
Okay.
Causeway.
I just never thought I would come back here.
You don't got love for this city?
It's not the city. It's that house. I'm the only one that made it out. I got a job.
You did doing what?
Cleaning pools.
What are you doing?
Pools. Cleaning them.
What the fuck is that? Causeway? Are they building a causeway?
No, it's
is it road workers?
No, it's an artsy. It's just an artsy title.
Oh, okay.
So this is from Studio A24.
Oh, okay.
One of our favorite studios. Yeah. How this got on my radar was one of the leads was nominated for an Oscar for their performance in this movie.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
So it stars Jennifer Lawrence and Brian Tyree Henry. Do you recognize that name?
No.
He's Paperboy in Atlanta.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, that actor.
That
he's
guy.
in tons of shit.
He's
now.
awesome.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, shit.
Nominated for an Oscar.
Good for him.
An Oscar, Kevin. So this has got to be an Academy Award winning that level of film, right? No, fuck this movie. I don't have a ton to say. It's very like.
So Jennifer Lawrence and
Brian Tyree Henry.
Anyone else in it?
No, not really. No, like nothing. I don't think anyone of big note. It's such a small cast. Most of the scenes are just the two of them.
And who directed this? Is it anybody?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. So here's the plot. So Lawrence comes back. So Jennifer Lawrence comes back from like overseas. She's like in Afghanistan or Iran or something. And she comes back and she's suffering from like severe PTSD, as well as like she's like shell shocked, as well as being like partially crippled when she comes home.
Jesus, okay.
And she's going through like...
Is this during like the mid 2000s or like the Iraq war?
I
Like,
don't
war on
know that
terror?
it's supposed to be... I think it's supposed to be like now. I don't think it necessarily is older, because I mean the States is always...
Yeah, they're always
involved
involved
in some thing overseas. Sorry, I know we have a lot of U.S. listeners. We love our American listeners. We are not shitting on the American military. But... so she comes back and she's really fucked up, and she starts going through like intense physical therapy, and she at first it starts off, it's very dry and like cold. Like there's like no humor whatsoever for the first like 30 minutes of it. The first like 30 minutes of just are literally like just stark realism of like, she can't walk right.
This sounds like a sad drama.
And she can't grip things right. And it starts off and she like comes home, and then the VA puts her in the like a program where she's in like a halfway house with this woman that's like giving her support to be able to like clothe herself and go to the washroom and things. Then she gets a bit better, and then she moves home, and she moves home with like her loser mother, who always is like dating these piece of shit guys, and like they have a terrible relationship, and it's very clear why Jennifer Lawrence ran away and like joined the military. And then she gets a job, she gets like a shitty job working like cleaning pools, and that's where she meets Brian. That's not how she meets him. She gets a job cleaning pools, and then her like shitty car she borrows from her mom breaks down, and then she like takes it to a garage. And Brian Tyree Henry is the mechanic.
Oh, okay.
And then he's like, he basically like befriends her, and he sees that like she's just down on her luck, because she's like, yeah, I don't really have any money to pay you to fix this because I need this to get to the job. And then he's like, it's all right.
He offers to fix the car.
He basically offers, he's like, I'll fix the car. And he's like, you can pay me when you actually make some money. He's like, I'll drive you to your job too.
So the car is like a metaphor.
Just shut up and let me get
the car is like a metaphor for her, right? Like, he's going to help repair.
He's going to fix her. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah, that's it, Kevin.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
And she needs the car.
Thank
fixed.
God we're all just blessed.
I just cracked it.
With your filmic genius on this fucking desk here. Yeah, what would we do? What would the internet do?
You didn't notice that.
No, you're right. I didn't. All hail. All hail. God damn it. It's a miracle your fucking head fit through that giant ass 10-foot door over there. All right. So he... You're only on this show because I let you stay on this fucking show, okay? I want you to know you are replaceable, all right?
Oh, yeah.
You are always... I don't want you to ever get too comfortable in that seat, okay? I want to be clear about that. There is always like a very small amount keeping you in that fucking seat, all right? Just
hey, I'm just here to pick up on things you might have missed.
Things that I dropped, right?
Yeah.
Pick up the slack from this side of the fucking counter. Okay. Let's see. I lost my fucking train of thought. I don't even know where the hell I am. All right, yeah. So, okay, so that they start bonding, and Jennifer Lawrence is like extremely socially awkward, but like, because she's still like suffering from PTSD, and she very much so is like confused with what she wants to do with her life. And she immediately is like, when can I redeploy? And they're like,
oh, that's so dark.
Yeah. And they're like, redeploy. They're like, you have brain damage. Like you need to have physical, like her doctor, like they keep having these scenes of her going to see this doctor and her basically trying to convince him that she's able enough to go to be redeploy.
Yeah.
And him being like,
so many people,
look,
they
you need to, you're shell shocked. You're suffering from PTSD. You also have brain damage. You need to take like 8 to 12 months to recover. You can't go back. You can't, there's no shortcutting this, right?
Yeah.
But she keeps being like, yeah, I think I'm just going to go back, because she clearly doesn't want to like,
they don't
face
understand anything else. They it's like
tunnel vision. She has tunnel vision.
In a dark way, it's like they only feel safe with what they know, which was the horror and violence of.
And she also doesn't want to. She doesn't want to face her shitty life, basically.
Yeah,
it's
very
like, I don't
very
want
dark, very real.
It's very dark, very real. And then she like slowly Brian Tyree, I keep fucking forgetting the whole thing. Brian Tyree Henry, he's more like playing a version of himself where he's more like jokey and happy-go-lucky, and he's like, man, it's all right. Like he's more like chill.
So he's bringing some like warmth and like humor into her life.
So he slowly starts to
like,
warm her up, and she
friendship.
starts like smiling, and they strike up a bit of a friendship. They then start hanging out, and they sort of strike up like some romantic stuff. And this is where it's like, oh, that was kind of a weird thing to put in the movie, because she point blank says, she's like, I'm into women. She's like, I'm a lesbian. I'm not into guys. Yeah. But then like she kisses him at one point, and it's like, okay, so she's like it's like, I don't know, she's just fucked up, or I don't know, and it creates this weird scene between the two of them.
I feel like that's like, maybe that could be done well. It could be she's trying to portray affection.
It came out of nowhere for me.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, but
so Tyree Henry eventually reveals that like he also has like a fucked up past, and it turns out like I'm spoiling this because I don't fucking care. It's 2022. It's not like a big movie or anything, but it turns out like he only has one leg, and the reason is he was in a like horrible car accident with like his nephew, and his nephew died in the accident, like his young nephew, and then he lost his leg, and his sister never forgave him, and then basically he got like blacklisted from his family.
Okay.
So like he has this like darkness below the surface.
So he has a dark past as well.
Yeah. It's kind of it's what.
So wait, what you're describing is
a sad, slow, boring movie.
There was a cause to all of
God. Is there a way?
But there's a way
for you to shut the fuck up. Is that possible? 'Cause I'm going to murder you if you don't.
There was a cause to all of their trauma.
God, yeah.
But there's a way forward.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Why are you the way that you are?
I think this sounds pretty good.
It's not. This is the perfect way to describe it. It is a nothing indie movie. You've seen these before. There's a million of them. Those nothing indie movies where it's just characters doing stuff, not really, no real big conflicts. It's just nothing really happens.
Well, it's a character drama.
But it's like generic, bland drama. Just, it's so nothing. I have nothing to pull from it. It's just such a bland movie. It's so fucking saltine crackers. Like, no, it's just nothing. It's a fucking vanilla milkshake, dude. It's just nothing. Like,
let's see you make a fucking movie.
I have made a couple. I've made a couple, and they're not great. No, it's just boring. It's just, I don't know why it needs to exist.
How does it end? What's the ending?
I don't care. It's whatever. It ended with me stop watching it, and I put on something else.
It ended with you hitting stop on the remote.
Actually. Okay. I actually did finish it, which is shocking.
Oh, okay.
But I kept thinking, I'm like, this is gonna get good, right? Like everyone in it, like the acting is solid. I just don't give a shit about either characters, and to me, it's not an interesting story. It's just two depressed people
finding each other
and becoming slightly less depressed. That's the movie. It's a nothing indie movie. I fucking hate nothing indie movies. They fucking suck shit. There's so many of them too, because it's so easy to film a just indie drama film of like a couple characters, and I don't know, they're pool cleaners and they have tragic pasts, and most of the scenes are just them being like, yeah, I don't know, I just don't really trust people, you know? Yeah, like, I don't know, I went through some shit too, and why don't we just monologue to each other for the next 20 to 30 minutes, and that'll be one scene.
Yeah.
And then we'll have another scene where the stakes get escalated a little bit. And then we'll have a resolution scene where we state the moral of the film through our dialogue. Like, I'm just tired of these indie fucking, like, this is so fucking paint by the numbers. Fuck this movie. Nominate me for an Oscar, man. Not really. I don't have anything to submit to the Academy. I mean, my performance in our friendship has been very good. I mean, I think you believe that.
I don't know.
But you don't believe that I actually like you?
It's a little phoned in.
Oh, yeah, you can tell that I'm faking it, can you? Moving on to our next entry.
Yeah, what's the next one?
From 2015.
2015.
This was recommended to me. Fuck you for recommending this to me. Whoever recommended this to me.
Who recommended it to you?
One of my customers at the store, and I should know better than to take recommendations from anyone at any time. But because honestly, I think so. This person I actually respect. This is one of my regulars. I respect their taste in films. This one, it's not a bad film. It's just another meh film. It's just kind of it's like a solid 6 out of 10. Okay. This is from 2015, The Gift.
Excuse me, is your name Simon? Yes, sir. It is you. We went to school together.
This is my wife, Robin. This is, I didn't get your name.
Gordon Mosley. Gordo.
Gordo? Oh my God. I'm so sorry I didn't recognize you. It's been a very, very long time. Welcome home, smiley face, Gordo.
How do you think he got our address? That's an expensive bottle of wine. We should thank him.
I believe that the bad things in life, they can be a gift.
That guy's odd.
The Gift.
I bet you've never even heard of this.
Bring it up. Yeah.
This is totally one of those movies that like you might see the cover on like Redbox or like scrolling through Netflix and be like, what is this?
Is it like a streaming movie?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm not 100% sure if it like had any theatrical. This movie, yeah, there it is right here.
Horror mystery, The Gift. The past will be your present. Jason Bateman.
Yeah, so it stars Jason Bateman, Rebecca Hall, and Joel Edgerton. Edgerton's there on the poster.
Yeah.
It was actually written, produced, and directed by Joel Edgerton.
Oh, wow.
So this was like his baby, was this story. And let me get into the plot real quick.
It's got an intriguing poster. It's a man. Is that Edgerton?
Yeah, and he's like holding
on a black background.
He's like a creepy looking guy holding a present.
Holding this bright, colorful present with a bow tie on.
Yeah. And it's called The Gift. But
okay.
Yeah. All right, let me get into the plot.
Okay.
So Bateman is out shopping, and he's shopping for like furniture because like him and Rebecca Hall, I believe they're married and like they're trying to conceive and have a child, and they just moved into like this new like nice house. So he's just like out shopping for furniture, and he runs into Bateman's character's name is Simon, and he runs into Gordon, played by Joel Edgerton.
Okay.
And Gordon's like, "Oh, hey man, like, you remember me? It's Gord. Remember we went to school together?" And Bateman's kind of like, "Oh, Gord, yeah." Like he doesn't quite remember him,
okay.
But like he kind of knows him. But it's like he's being polite, and like he does know who he is, but it clearly wasn't somebody that was like his friend in high school. It was just somebody that he knew, and he just kind of just like blows it off and is kind of just like, like okay, whatever. Like I ran into this guy.
Yeah.
It's like I knew him in high school, whatever.
Weird interaction, but whatever.
And then all of a sudden, they find him and Rebecca Hall find a bottle of wine on, like they get it as a gift. They get like a bottle of wine. I can't remember if they find it on their porch or it's like it gets delivered to them.
Okay.
And it's like a housewarming gift from Gordon. So he's like
already. He's like, okay.
It's so, and I can't remember his explanation for how
they didn't exchange information though, did they?
I can't remember.
Was he like, here, I'll give you my cell phone number?
I can't quite remember. No, I don't think they did. I can't quite remember how he figured out like where the house was, but he has like an explanation of it that they write off as like, oh, that was innocent enough, right? And then Gordon randomly shows up at the house while they're like trying to like put away like unpacking boxes and things. And he shows up and he's like, oh, hey. He's like, I know you guys just moved into the neighborhood. He's like, I've got like a list of all these useful contacts, like plumbers and maids and handymen, like whatever you need. Like, here you go. It's so useful. So like, he's like trying so hard to like be their friend and
force a friendship
to like befriend them. And he's like, he's overcompensating in this relationship, like immediately.
But nothing he's doing is like, actually,
but it's seemingly all like,
it's all innocent action.
It seems like all innocent and polite, and maybe a little too much, but nothing seems nefarious yet. He's very like the Joel Edgerton character Gordon, he's very like awkward and cringy, and he's like he's a very weird like third wheel around like Bateman and his wife, and like they can't really act normal around him because he's like socially awkward.
Okay.
So like, and Bateman finds him weird and like clearly doesn't like him and clearly wasn't friends with him, and Bateman's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know, like what are we doing here? But like his wife is just like, no, he's trying, like I don't know, I like him, and like she kind of defends him, whereas Bateman's kind of like, let's get rid of this guy, like why we don't need him in our lives, like I know he means well, but the guy's fucking weird, like fuck this guy. And he actually reveals that in high school they used to call him Gordo the Weirdo.
Oh,
like they had like a nickname for him.
So it's almost like they were pseudo bullying him a bit.
So then Gordon invites them over for dinner at his big fancy house.
Ooh, okay.
So then they come over to like this big like mansion-esque house.
This sounds fun so far. This sounds like
if you like thrillers, this is for you. I don't like thrillers.
You don't like just the genre of thrillers?
I'm not into thrillers.
Okay.
I find them so derivative, and they all have the same beats. But so I generally don't go for thrillers. I'm not a huge fan. It's like
bold take here, folks.
No, it is a bold take. Either make it an action movie or make it a horror movie. Anything in between is a vanilla milkshake. I just got no flavor. I'm just not into thrillers as much. Or make it like a gritty drama. Like I don't know. I find thrillers. You know when you're watching one, you're like, okay, it's one of those. There's so many of those erotic thrillers, so many of those thrillers of like the evil guy next door, but he's seemingly normal on the surface. But then by like the 50-minute mark, he crosses a line. So let's get to the crossing the line.
Okay.
So
they go to the dinner party.
They go to like a dinner party, and then they get there and they're like, where's everybody else? And like, oh, everybody canceled. Yeah, exactly. See, it's so like beat for beat, right? It's like, this fucking plot.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, yeah, sorry, everybody canceled. I don't know. And then he gets like a phone call, and then he like runs out of the house and he's like, sorry guys, I'll be right back. Like, I'm really sorry. This isn't important. It's a business phone call. He's like, I got to take care of some stuff. And then Bateman
leaves them in the house.
Yeah. And then I think Bateman's like, he says like, I don't even know what Gordo does for work. Like, I think he makes a comment of like, I don't even know he does work. So then they like start talking and like joking.
See,
around.
I like this. I like thrillers.
And they get bored, and then they start walking.
They start investigating the house.
And then they find a children's bedroom. And they're like, Gordon never said he had kids.
Oh.
And they find like women's clothing, but Gordon said he was like divorced. So it's like, there's like, is this even his house? And so then Gordon comes back, and then like, he basically like tries to explain away everything, and
all the weirdness.
All the weirdness. And then Jason Bateman's just like, look, this is too weird for us. Like, I don't like this. Like, we can't be friends. I'm sorry, Gordon, but like, we can't be friends. And then Gordon's like, oh, okay, yeah.
He pulls the parachute. He's like, I'm out. Like,
yeah. And then it's like, okay, sure. Yeah, no problem. And then what ends up happening is like weird shit starts happening at Rebecca Hall, like at Bateman and his wife's house.
Yeah.
So like they have a koi pond, and like all the fish are dead one day.
Of course. Yeah.
And then like Rebecca Hall keeps thinking like somebody else is in the house, because like she'll just be like doing stuff in one room, and then like the tap will turn on in another room.
Oh
like
no.
Shit like that. Like as if he's
he's fucking like
he's stalking
in
her
the other room at all times.
And so she's like always at like uncomfortable, and then their dog goes missing at one point, and they're like, fucking Gordon, he stole our fucking dog, and like they call the police, and they're like, well,
there's no evidence.
We don't. It's almost like you've watched this film before. Yeah, the law can't do anything against the man if we don't have any evidence.
There's no rules.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, Mr. Bateman. We can't. Our hands are tied by the law because he actually hasn't done anything.
Well, you know what this is like?
It's like a million fucking movies. You're describing everything.
This is like Cape Fear.
It's
where they're like, sorry, mister, like he's not actually doing anything.
Well,
like,
the law's inadequate here. God. You know what's better than this? Roadhouse. Roadhouse doesn't fuck around, all right?
Roadhouse.
You get fights, you get fucking hot chicks, rockin' soundtrack, music. It's a fucking like things happen. There's no bullshit where like they go to the cops and they're like, oh, the evil guy, the evil big bad guy, we can't stop him. No, Patrick Swayze just fucks his ass up. There's no fucking around, all right?
So you're saying that Jason Bateman should have like throat punched?
Yes.
Gordo.
He should have roundhouse kicked him, followed by throat ripping him.
Oh, okay.
That's what should actually happen.
Yeah.
That's how Swayze would have handled it.
And it should have been like,
And then it should have been like hot chicks.
Fucker.
Yeah. I'm saying that's a better version of this fucking movie. Like, God, we can't do anything. I'm sorry, Mr. Bateman. I'm sorry, Mr. Bateman. The police department is basically a limp dick when it comes to like thriller movies.
Bateman should go above the law.
Yes.
And take the law into his hands.
There's a reason those Seagal and Van Damme movies got popular, buddy.
I need a shotgun and an unmarked car.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll handle it myself.
Above the law. Out for justice. I don't have time for this fucking dick around bullshit of like, Gordo, get out of my life. I'm not actually doing anything, Bateman. According to the law.
Oh, this sounds great to me.
So then there's a twist. I'm going to spoil it.
Okay, so they can't do it. The police can't do anything. Weird shit keeps happening. How does it what is the climax?
It culminates in Gordon gets his revenge because it gets revealed that in high school, Simon, Jason Bateman's character, was actually a huge bully.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, like it's kind of obvious.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious.
And they like subtly drop this throughout the film, but he was like a huge bully, and he actually like bullied Gordon, and he made up a fucked up. Excuse me. He made up a fucked up rumor that someone had. Can I say this word? I don't fucking care. He made up a rumor that somebody molested Gordon.
Oh.
He like made up a rumor and
that's
spread
really
it.
terrible.
Oh, it's terrible. And then Gordon's father, who I think was like a devout Christian or some shit, was just like, because it was supposed to be like that a man had molested him. He tried to murder his son. Like he tried to murder Gordon
because he was like a crazy religious.
He was just or something like that. And then because of that, Gordon had to like go into like
foster care.
I think he went. No, I think he went into like military school or some shit. Like he ended up going into the system basically.
So this ruined his life.
He ruined his life
and his family.
It straight up ruined his life. And then Bateman basically just like has forgotten all this / just wants to just
chooses to forget. Conveniently,
it's like selectively forgets.
Yeah.
And then it ends with Rebecca Hall is like pregnant in the hospital, and Gordon gives him the gift. The name of the fucking the name of the fucking film, and the gift is like it's a videotape, and it shows him drug Rebecca Hall, and then it's implied that Gordon might have had sex with her unconsensually and impregnated her.
Jesus,
and that's
Christ.
how he leaves Jason Bateman. Is Jason Bateman doesn't know if that's actually his child or not. That's the ending. That's the ending. Yeah, you don't like the fucking thriller now. Yeah. Oh, suddenly it's not doing it for you, buddy? You didn't like that ending? That didn't make your dick hard, buddy, huh?
Can I get a gift receipt?
Yeah. My gift for you, buddy, is the plot of that film.
Yeah.
Yeah. The gift.
That's a rough ending. Yeah.
The gift. Fuck the gift. Fuck the gift. I don't know. It's like everyone in it is good. It's just I don't like these kind of movies. I find them so cringy and just so like I just get so annoyed with any of the movies that have the guy that's like, yeah, I'm embedding myself in your life now, but I'm just staying
I'm riding the line.
Yeah, I'm riding the line where I'm going to do things, but the cops aren't going to see me do it. Your cat's going to end up dead, and I clearly did it, but you have no evidence of it. So when you go to the cops, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
I fucking hate those movies because it's like an hour and a half of frustration where you're just like, shoot him. Shoot him. Roundhouse kick him.
Above the law.
Yeah, right. And that's why those movies are fucking awesome. Yeah. I would watch Above the Law and Out for Justice any day over the gift. Yeah, this is no fucking Roadhouse, buddy. This is just, that's how you handle a fucking bully.
Or, well, I mean, I guess in the end, Bateman was the bully, so he
I can't think of one thriller film I like.
You can't think of a single thriller? What about like Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah, that's the one that everybody points at. They're like, you must like Silence of the Lambs. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Anthony Hopkins is amazing in it. I don't think Jodie Foster is very good in it.
What about like classic like Hitchcock ones, like Rear Window, Psycho?
Oh,
I guess Psycho's
God,
more-
oh
no!
Oh no, that spiky-haired boy's coming to kill me.
I don't have your money.
James Stewart. Yeah, no, I'm not a huge Hitchcock fan. I never was into the thrillers. Yeah, I respect Psycho. I very much respect Psycho.
Vertigo.
I don't like Vertigo.
No.
Yeah, I don't like the thriller genre.
Okay.
I don't like these films. Yeah, no.
What about like De Palma?
I'd rather
thrillers?
just
They're kind of horror.
Same thing. Yeah, like
You like
I don't
Dress to
like
Kill?
Dress to Kill, and I don't like the fucking one that everybody likes.
I think that's the one.
No.
Are you talking about Body Double?
Body Double. I watched Body Double recently, and I'm like, yeah, it's okay. It's shot beautifully.
Oh yeah,
it's shot beautifully.
What's his other one? Would that be considered a thriller? The one with Travolta. Fuck, what's that one called?
Hairspray?
No.
Technically, Travolta's in that.
That is true. No, there's a De Palma thriller. With
That is
Travolta.
a thriller because you're like, oh my God, is Travolta's career going to be ruined because of this? Like, you're on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Yeah. So you just don't. You're down on thrillers.
I'm down on
the
thrillers.
entire genre, the entire concept of
erotic thrillers suck.
No thrills for you.
Thrillers suck. They all do the same fucking shit. It's all the same beat for beat. Either go full cock and go horror, or do a drama, or do an action movie. Thriller is just a poor man's version of those other genres, in my opinion. It's like
I don't know if I agree with
Oh,
that.
no one's gonna agree with me on this. No, I'm in a camp of one, buddy.
Yeah.
There's nobody else on this side that are taking
So what makes it a full horror from a thriller? What is it? What is the distinction?
Well,
there?
are the Friday 13th movies thriller? No, they're horror movies. You have a chase and a kill. And there's no ambiguity there.
Well, horror is a type of thrill.
No, fuck you.
Action is a type of thrill.
The difference is you don't have the police showing up and being like, we can't do anything to Jason Voorhees because there's no evidence that he's been chopping up these teenagers. No, Jason would show up and like chop into the cops. So like, there's no, they don't have any of that bullshit. It's very clear. This is the monster. Run from the monster. Stop the monster. Those are horror movies. Thrillers are everybody's. It's all nebulous. It's everybody's kind of a bad guy and a good guy, and we can't prove the bad guy's really the bad guy. We don't know.
What about like The Sixth Sense? Is that like a thriller, or is that like a Shyamalan?
It's like a horror drama. It's borderline thriller. But it's not.
Okay.
That's a different example of a thriller because nobody's going after the little kid in that movie, and no one's going after Bruce Willis. So, to me, it's more of a horror drama. But give me a thriller. You come up with a thriller, and I'll go. Okay.
What about the other Shyamalan one, Unbreakable? Is that like a thriller?
That's not a thriller. That's a science fiction drama.
Science fiction drama.
How is that not science fiction? There's superpowers in it. How is it not science fiction?
But it's mysterious.
That is a drama. That is, I have it in my store under drama. Yeah. There's like no fucking thrillers suck.
I'm gonna look up thriller.
This is the clip, folks. Clip it. This is the clip. Drama thrillers. You give me one fucking good thriller.
Thriller.
Okay, that's the real thriller. They're right. Stop. We're gonna get demonetized.
Yeah.
Do not finish that chord. the Jackson estate do not play. There's no way we will get away with it.
I'm gonna look up thriller movies Wikipedia.
Just type in top thriller films all time. The number one is gonna be like Silence of the Lambs or some shit. I like how you're just like, nope. There has to be an exception. I'm sure there is. Generally, if you make a thriller, I'm not interested because I find they all have the same beats. The erotic thrillers, somebody's being blackmailed. You need to have a little bit more of a hook for me to get into it.
Let's just view.
Like, is No Country for Old Men a thriller?
I would say so.
I think it's more closer to a drama, maybe even an action movie.
That's not an action movie, though, is it?
It's got a lot of action sequences.
I would say it's like a thriller drama.
Dude, there's a shootout.
I guess so.
See, that's not really in a thriller.
Let's go IMDb. Okay, we'll go IMDb top 100 thriller movies. This is by
Number one,
Tar 7.
Number
user.
one better be Thriller from Michael Jackson.
User MilkTar7 created 9 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, well, this is
number one, Psycho. Number 2, Chinatown. Very good movie.
Fuck Chinatown.
Number 3, The Tenant from 76. Number 4, The Name of the Rose.
I know that movie.
Blue Velvet. We've got Lynch.
It's okay.
David Lynch.
Yeah, it's okay. You love Lynch.
Manhunter from 86.
Yeah, that's just Silence of the Lambs. It's the same shit.
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs.
Same shit.
Basic Instinct.
Yeah, that's erotic
Douglas
thriller.
You love Paul Verhoeven.
What movie?
Basic Instinct.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's just an erotic thriller.
Falling Down. Falling Down's a thriller.
That is not a thriller. That is not a thriller.
What would you call that?
That is a fucking drama.
Michael
That
Douglas.
is fucking nuts.
The king of the thriller.
click the link. No, click the link. What is the first genre listed? Bet you it's drama.
Okay, this is on IMDb.
Bet you it's drama. Bet you it's not thriller.
Does it show?
Yeah, it's right at the top. Right underneath the title, it says the genre.
Action, crime, drama.
Oh, action, crime, drama. Doesn't sound like a fucking thriller, does it?
Well, is there a category for thriller?
Thank you, folks. There absolutely is. I mean, if
Okay.
crime's listed. All right. Thank you. Kevin
right.
Kevin succeeded in proving my point that there's no good thrillers.
What about 7?
It's okay.
That's a thriller.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
None of these are in my collection. You haven't named one that I'm like, okay, that's a masterpiece.
12 Monkeys.
I really like 12 Monkeys.
That's kind of a thriller.
It's science fiction.
Okay.
See how it's got.
Okay.
That's why I said the only thrillers I like are the ones that have that extra thing. You know,
LA Confidential.
Like, you know what the gift should have been? He's like, my gift is.
Where are you going? Okay, let's hear it. What should the gift have been, Justin?
He should have been gifted. He should have had powers.
It would have been funny if the gift was just like dog poop.
No.
And like he lit it on fire and left it
He
on
was
his yeah. That was the final prank.
No, his gift should have been like he should have had powers, Kevin. He should have been he should have been gifted.
Like psychokinetic
yes.
powers.
Yes,
Yeah.
that should have been the actual gift. Yeah.
You blind.
Yes, yeah. He's like, I've gifted you with this curse that I've had for millennia. Yeah, like something like that would have been awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, he could have passed.
Then you would have liked it.
He could have passed along like a voodoo curse or some shit.
Okay, yeah.
You know what's actually okay? This isn't a thriller, but it's close. It Follows.
Yeah, that's a thriller. Oh, it's a
It's
horror.
a horror.
Thriller.
Yeah,
It's a horror thriller.
See? You can't find one just
The Sixth Sense is on
thriller.
here.
That's also horror, by the way.
The Talented Mr. Ripley. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
They've got Sleepy Hollow listed as a thriller. I mean,
Yeah, it's a horror movie.
Okay.
Fuck off.
Memento. That's a thriller, buddy.
It is. It's pretty good. It is pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's more actiony, but it is pretty good. That is thriller for sure. See, like the only thrillers that I like have that horror or science fiction vibe to them, but none of them are in my collection.
Minority Report.
That's science fiction.
I guess it's sci-fi.
You're literally just listening. Hey, can you name more examples of the things I'm describing?
Old Boy.
It's action.
It's
It's
got an action scene.
Click on the
It's
IMDb.
got an action
Click
scene.
on the IMDb. What is it? What the fuck is the first genre listed?
Action.
Oh, okay. All right. Moving on, folks. Bottom line, thrillers are a waste of your fucking time.
I disagree.
Okay.
All right.
Moving on to the from 2023.
Recent. Okay.
The Iron Claw.
Ever since I was a child, people said my family was cursed. Mom tried to protect us with God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling. He said if we were the toughest, the strongest, nothing had ever hurt us. I believed him. We all did.
I've heard about this. I've not seen this one.
The Zac Efron
Yeah,
biopic.
the
one.
wrestling
The wrestling
drama.
dynasty one. Yeah. So it stars Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White, who you might best know as the lead of The Bear.
Yep.
He was excellent. He was also on what's the dysfunctional family show?
Oh, Shameless?
Shameless, thank you. The one with William H. Macy. And it also has Holtz McCallany.
I don't know if I know who that is.
he's in a lot of shit. He was one of the leads in Mindhunter. Did you ever watch that show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
he's
he
the big guy.
Oh yeah. He's great.
Yeah, he's great. He was also in Fight Club. He played a lesser role. He was like the detective guy that was also like working for Tyler Durden.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was made by, once again, A24, our friends. Got to respect A24, except Causeway. That film sucks. But that's an example of movies I don't want to see A24 make. The Iron Claw is an example of ones I would like to see them make.
Okay.
Where it's like, Causeway just feels like any fucking indie production company could have made it. Like, it doesn't really have much punch to it. The Iron Claw it's like, okay, this is like, it's more of a filmic eye. I don't know. I like it. It's a little bit more substance to it.
I know
the
about
Green Knight, like A24 has a really good resume. So
yeah.
far, right?
I mean, they did MaXXXine too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's an A24.
Ooh, does that hurt them?
No, I think people will
I think
enjoy
it's still on brand.
Yeah.
It's still got
that's
good shit to
their
it.
bread and butter.
It's no Causeway.
It's no Causeway.
Yeah, it's no Causeway. Yeah, nothing.
So the only thing I know about this is it's a drama about a wrestling family that's based on a true story.
Yeah. Oh, it's all true. Yeah.
Okay, it's all true.
So
and the only other thing I know is that it's very tragic and very sad. Because all you hear about this movie is like there's memes of like people being like, this is like the most depressing.
Yeah. So
movie.
would you like some I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Would you like some sadness porn? Because if you would, that's what this is.
This is like a real, you will cry by the end of this.
It's just constant. So this is about the Von Erich wrestling dynasty, which is like a real thing.
That's a real thing?
Yeah, the Von Erichs.
I know nothing about
the Von
wrestling.
Erichs were like a wrestling family, and literally it was a dynasty, and it was like all these good old boys, and there was the patriarch of the family who like, he was a wrestling promoter, and he pushed all of his sons to become professional wrestlers, and they all like, for the most part, like dominated that field. Like at one point, they were some of the biggest names in wrestling. This is like pre-WWF shit.
It's like
this is like
70s and 80s type thing or something?
Yeah, 70s, early 80s. It'd be like Deep South wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Von Erichs were like very well known. So Holtz McCallany, he plays Fritz Von Erich, who's the patriarch of the family. He's like the loving father, but he's like the tough as nails father. It's just like trying to manipulate his son's lives kind of thing.
Yeah, it's almost like he's forcing them into this life because it's the family business.
Yeah, he's basically just like,
imagine.
Yep, I'm proud of you boys, but you know, you boys are my legacy.
Yeah,
so.
I'm proud of you, but only
only when you're succeeding, when you're doing the things I want you to do. He's very like manipulative. He like, I don't know if this is true, but this was in the movie, and I was like, that's so fucked up. He ranks his children to them.
Oh,
and he's constantly doing this.
That is just a recipe for trauma.
That's so manipulative and like evil almost. So he constantly ranks his own children, and he
like child of the month on the wall,
and he encourages them to compete. He encourages them to compete with each other.
Yeah, so this is like Succession
for his affection.
I don't know if you've seen Succession, but like Brian Cox, basically.
I don't want to listen to you gush about Succession. Okay. Off camera, I've had to listen to this motherfucker jerk off about Succession so
Great
goddamn
show.
much.
It's a good show.
Yeah, God, Brian Cox, he's got a $1 billion family dynasty, and he's got dementia. He's got a bunch of stupid shit kids, and it's a masterpiece show. Is that Succession?
Is that what I sound like?
No, I was doing Brian Cox.
Oh.
You thought I was doing you?
I was like, I don't sound like that.
I got news for you, buddy. You sound like Brian Cox. Justin, I wanted to talk to you about Succession.
I thought you were doing me. I was like, okay. It's particularly cruel.
In order for me to properly impersonate you, I'd probably have to take half my brain out first. Then I could properly.
All right, tell me about your sad wrestling.
Your sad wrestling movie. I mean, that's all it is. It's just like you got like the four brothers. They ended up. Turns out the actual story is even more depressing than the film itself.
Oh, really?
So like, what ended up happening in the real life story is like each one of these brothers just tragedy befell them, and like No,
9 misfortunes.
No, literally. It's like
I can
really
see
fucked
7,
up.
maybe even 8.
Yeah, not 9.
9.
Yeah, but literally that's
Okay.
what ended up happening. So it's like the one brother was in an accident and lost his leg. The other brother killed himself, and then another brother like had an injury and then like had brain damage because of the injury, and then he killed himself. And it's like
Holy
it's
shit.
so much shit of just like this family tragedy just kept befalling them.
It's just undone by constant tragedy.
And unfortunately, like the family believed there was a curse on them too, which is even more like woo like weirdness that like they believed there was a real life curse, and in actuality, all this fucked up shit happened to all the kids, and like all the brothers died for the most part.
What was the family name again?
The Von Erichs.
So they were like, it was the Von Erich curse.
The Von Erich curse, yeah.
Okay.
So Zac Efron plays one of the main Von Erichs. He plays Kevin Von Erich.
Okay.
And then Jeremy Allen plays Carrie Von Erich. And Carrie is like he's like the golden boy. He's the favorite child. He doesn't actually show up in the film until 40 minutes in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so this is a biopic. So we're doing like, it's beat for beat. We're slowly getting the tale of how these brothers like rose to fame under their father's tutelage, and then like their fall. And
like Tammy Faye.
Oh, it's all the same shit.
The rise.
Folks, biopics are all the same shit. It's all the same
This
plot.
golden era where
Yep.
nothing can go wrong, and the family's successful, and they have this dynasty form, and then we watch.
And then you watch an hour of tragedy. It's literally just nonstop depressing things happening, and it just gets sadder and sadder. What else do I got here? I wrote, it's a depressing, really slow film with a really bland protagonist. I'll say this. So the main protagonist is Zac Efron. Everyone in this movie is good. Like their acting is all good.
Yeah.
The problem is like Kevin Von Erich is just kind of a bland, generic guy. I'm not shitting on the man personally, but as a protagonist of it is based on a true story, but it's a film, so it's almost like a work of fiction. It's an entertaining story.
Yeah.
He is not a compelling protagonist. So like you're following him through the whole movie, but he's kind of just like this shy, awkward guy that like doesn't have a ton of range of emotions.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that, because isn't wrestling all about performance?
Yeah, and
so what's his like?
So that's it's funny you say that. So he's actually really bad on the microphone. So he's a very good technical wrestler, but
he's good at the moves.
He's terrible
but,
at cutting promos, and that's a plot point in the film. But that's our main character. That's who we're following. They centered it around Kevin Von Erich, and then by the end of the movie, they kind of like the whole movie centers around him. And I think he was the only surviving member of that family. Like by the end, like all of his brothers had died,
shit.
and like it has like I don't know. It's just very sad, like almost from beginning to end. It's not an uplifting story.
No, it doesn't sound.
It's
like
not
it.
really.
But it sounds like in terms of the goal, like did it work on you? Were you emotionally affected by it? Did you walk out of it?
I was, but so here's my problem.
Because that seems to be the goal. Like, did you walk out of it? Did you feel something? Did the movie make you feel like
it did? But
emotions.
So are you familiar with? I've gushed about this show before to you. Do you remember me talking about Dark Side of the Ring, the Canadian documentary series?
You did tell me about that.
One of their first episodes was on the Von Erich family.
Oh, okay.
It was a million times better than this film. It's way more interesting. Because you have all these talking heads, and they go through each of the tragedies. And this works so much better as a docuseries because it is a tale of tragedy. Like, that's really what it is. It's so much more engaging and interesting when you're just watching it as a documentary. As a work of fiction and, like, as a film, it's not super fun to watch. It's not super enjoyable. There's nothing really to root for. It doesn't work as well. It's a biopic that didn't need to be adapted because the real story behind it is really sad and fucked up, and that works better when you tell it through the lens of a documentary.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that Dark Side of the Ring episode way more than I enjoyed this film, even though the performances were quite good.
Is it the type of thing where because you had already watched Dark Side of the Ring and you had experienced the story, knew the story, did that spoil the fact that this like
It does.
would it have been better
spoiled,
to go in blind if you're like,
yeah,
I don't know anything?
It absolutely would, but it's not. It doesn't take away from the fact that it's like it's not. It's a sad, slow burn film. That's what it is. Like it's sadness porn is really what it is. I wanted to show you this though. I don't know if you've seen this. What Zac Efron looks like in this movie.
Holy shit!
So he got juiced to shit. And
he looks like a monster.
Yeah.
He looks like a wrestler.
Yeah. He literally got juiced to shit, and like look what he did to his face. Like his face is just like all puffed out.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Is it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's
Good for
kind
him.
of I don't know. It's kind of fucked. Like I don't know. It's fucked. Like he clearly had to roid up like crazy to fucking shoot this movie. And I don't know.
Well, he went all in, you know?
He did. He's good in the movie. It's funny though, because I feel like he killed himself probably to do this film and then got nominated for nothing.
Oh, really?
Oh, there was no like critic. Like I almost feel like he thought this was going to be his fucking Mickey Rourke wrestler, you know?
Oh, I see.
And the Academy Award goes to like, but I don't think he got, I could be wrong, but
I feel like this got awards. Look it up. What did it?
I don't know. I don't have time to look this up. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay, so what is the Iron Claw? Is that a move? That's like a distinct.
That's their signature move.
The family,
that's the family
signature
finisher.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
What is it?
That's all.
Is it like jumping off the?
No,
it's the turnbuckle.
It's like you use your hand like a claw and you dig into the opponent's scalp, like dig into their head, and then the guy goes like like you're digging into their skull with your claw. Right.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, that actually works.
Yeah.
Wrestling's real.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
That's why they won, because they had the magical power of the Iron Claw.
Anyways, moving on to my next entry here. I gotta shut him down because otherwise he will just keep riffing for like 10 minutes straight.
Yeah.
People think I'm the clown on this table. The real clown's right there, buddy.
The real curse of the family was that move. It's because they were using that move. It was too powerful.
Yeah, it overcame them.
Yeah.
There is one.
It's a dark. And see, for every match you win,
there's one scene.
For every match you win with the Iron Claw, it takes a life.
It takes.
Yeah, it gives and it takes.
Yeah, that's how that works. Yeah.
Yeah. Supernatural.
This is a real sad story, you piece of shit, as you like joke over there.
I don't know anything about this.
Right. So I know that's why you're able to make these jokes. You haven't seen the movie,
Yeah.
so you see them as just like fictional characters instead of real human beings. Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel good about yourself
No.
over there? Yeah, you shouldn't. How do you live with yourself?
It's not funny. It's a little funny.
So
all right.
What was I saying?
What were you moving on to?
No, I was gonna say there's one scene in the movie I really liked. It most of the movie is just straight drama. It's shot well. It's competently directed and everything. It's well acted.
You're a stickler for endings. Does it have a good ending?
The ending's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, the thing is, it's not like what is the ending? It's a real story. So the ending is just like life moved on, right? So like, it ends with like Zac Efron basically like.
Well, does he reconcile with the remnants of his family, or does he come to like any like?
He basically comes to terms.
Epiphany. Does he have like any sort of like?
But keep him
closure. For
he basically just like makes his peace with like his past, and then like tries to raise his two sons, and then it ends with like him like playing sports with his sons, and then he starts crying because he misses his brothers, and then like and the whole thing is like.
You know both the real story and this fictional version. Like, is the idea that he would not become like his father and force his own children into like this
basically,
because that would make sense to me.
But
if you experience all that horror, I imagine like you'd be like, well, I don't want to like do this.
I think the message is that he finally put the family trauma to bed.
Okay,
I think that's supposed to be the message.
Yeah.
So. There's one scene in the movie. So the whole movie is pretty straight, but there's one scene where they do something that's like, oh, they went a little supernatural. That's interesting.
Oh, really?
It's not really supernatural, but it's like, I guess they went religious for one thing. So after Jeremy Allen White? Yeah, Jeremy Allen White, after his character after Carrie Von Erich kills himself, what's his face? Efron, but Kevin finds him, and they cut to this shot, and it's supposed to be Carrie going into the afterlife, And he's like, he starts off like on a boat, and there's a scene in the movie, which was a real thing, where the wrestler Ric Flair. You've heard of him, obviously.
Yeah.
So this was a career-defining match, and both Carrie and Kevin had the opportunity to wrestle Ric Flair, which either one of them, whoever was going to wrestle him, it would have altered their career, and they would have got a huge bump, right, in their popularity.
Yeah.
And they flipped a coin to see who it was going to be, and it ended up being, I believe it ended up being Carrie, not Kevin, which obviously really hurt Kevin's career and yada yada.
Yeah.
And he has the coin in the afterlife, and he leaves it on the boat as if he's paying for his ferry into the afterlife.
Oh.
And then the boat comes up to a dock, and on the dock are his deceased brothers.
Wow.
And they welcome him into the afterlife. It's actually a very powerful scene, but it's very religious, but it kind of comes out of nowhere because there's nothing like that in the movie.
That's interesting.
It's a beautiful little scene. I really like that scene. It's like,
it's an interesting choice. Yeah.
it's an interesting choice. Yeah. And like his brother with the brain damage isn't acting like that. Like he's talking normal all of a sudden.
Yeah,
and then his other brother that like had a chip on his shoulder, who I can't remember how he died, but like, he finally, like, in the afterlife, he's at peace with it. And
Yeah.
It's a very powerful scene. Yeah, and then the whole thing is the brothers reunite in the afterlife. Yeah.
So would you recommend this one?
If you want really sad drama, I'll recommend it. But if you're someone that this kind of stuff really upsets you, don't watch this.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna upset you. It's not very uplifting. So
Save it for a rainy day if you're feeling like it. If you're in the mood for something.
If you're cuddling with your honey and she's immediately gonna make you feel better right after, then okay, sure. But if you're by yourself, if you're a sad, lonely sack of shit like I am, don't watch this, because then you're gonna be like, man, Carrie Von Erich, I get him. I relate to his dark, deep sadness. No, but in all honesty, it's like, don't watch this unless you want to watch something sad and depressing.
Yeah. Sometimes you're in the mood for it.
Sometimes you want a little bit of rainy day
catharsis.
Stuff. This is a rainy day type movie.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's not super uplifting. Like, it's not. By the end of the movie, I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah, like, glad he found some peace, but like, fuck, all that shit. It's so heavy. It's a heavy load,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's heavy, Doc.
Is there some sort of gravitational issue in the future, Kevin? Like, shut up, fucking idiot, and your references. What's your next pick?
Okay, my next pick, I'm curious if you watch this. If you want to bring it up, it's from, I believe, this year or last year, The Holdovers.
Every year at Barton Academy, students, faculty, and staff depart the campus for a 2-week winter break. But there are always an unfortunate few who have nowhere to go for the holidays. They're known as the Holdovers.
Mr. Hunnam.
Hello, Mary.
I heard you got stuck with babysitting duty this year. How'd you manage that?
You know, he used to be a student, right? Yeah, that's why he knows how to inflict maximum pain on us.
I thought all the Nazis were hiding in Argentina.
Stifle it, Tully.
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, you have not.
I really want to watch this.
You really want to. Maybe
Can you give me a review of this without spoiling anything?
Sure, yeah. I'll just keep it brief.
Okay, because I really want to watch this. This is the Paul Giamatti movie.
Yes.
Yeah. What year is this?
I think
it's 2023.
Bring it up.
Yeah,
Bring it up,
okay,
because I want to see the cast as well. There's some great cast.
Yeah, 2023. This is the dramedy. Yeah. This is it's like a pseudo. Is it British?
No, I don't think so. It's American.
For some reason, I was thinking it was British. But
so this is a good one to talk about after we just had that big discussion about MaXXXine. This is how you do like a throwback 70s, 80s
this is set in the 70s. This is set in the 70s.
So I guess in the same way that X is like a 70s throwback, this is like a 70s drama throwback.
But they're not bonking you on the head where it's like, hey, I just saw Rocky.
Yeah. This is like,
wanna go see The French Connection?
I really need to be breaking away from my past. This is a fantastic movie. I don't want to spoil it. You should definitely watch it.
It's on my list.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, audience, go check it out. It's a wonderful film.
I hate thrillers, but I love dramedies.
You love dramedies,
dramedies,
yeah.
Because life has like life is so much like a dramedy.
Yeah.
You know, there's always funny moments in the tragedy, and there's always tragedy in the good.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm not like, there's an alternate universe where I would have watched this and been like, whatever. But no, this just wins you over so much. It's got heart and soul. Giamatti's great. This young actor, Dominic Sessa, is the young kid that they found to play opposite Giamatti. Because I don't know if you know the basic premise of the movie.
I think the premise is that like it's Holdovers is referring to the kids that have to do summer school.
No, so it's for Christmas. It's actually a Christmas movie.
Oh, okay. They're like, okay, so explain the plot.
So it's a private academy or private school in somewhere in like the Midwest, I guess.
Okay.
I don't actually know.
I don't know
Maybe
why I
they'll
thought
say.
this was in England for some reason. I thought this was a British film.
No, it's American. And this Dominic Sessa plays Angus, who's a young kid going to this academy. And basically, once the school term ends and it goes into like Christmas holidays.
So Christmas break,
Or Christmas break, all the kids go home to their families.
Right.
But Angus comes from a troubled family. His mom has, I believe, remarried or had a divorce or has a new partner. And she's decided to go off on like a trip with her new man. And it's kind of fucks him over because he was planning on going with her. And then he tries to like stay with another friend who's like, oh, don't worry, you can stay with me and my parents. But it falls through. And so then he's left in a situation where he's a holdover, where he's like, well, instead of going home, you're going to have to sleep and stay at the school over Christmas break. It'll be skeleton crew staff. Like,
Do they live on the campus normally?
Yeah, they live. They normally live there.
So it's just you're living there where there's no classes. Basically.
Yeah, there's no classes.
Yeah.
So skeleton crew, most of the staff goes home.
Yeah.
It's just like a few people to caretake. Yeah. And then one of the teachers has to basically flip a coin or like they have to work out through the teacher's lobby. They're like, oh, who's going to stay and watch the holdovers? Yeah, they need a chaperone. So Paul Giamatti gets the short end of the stick and he's like, oh, fuck, I got to like stay over Christmas break and like watch these jackass kids that like these fucking lost souls don't have parents that like they can go stay with. And that's the premise. And you learn about Giamatti, you learn about the kids, and like he has to chaperone them and watch them. And there's also
they slowly start to bond.
Joy Randolph, who plays Mary. She's like the cook that stays on. So she's like the caretaker that cooks all the meals and is like doing all that stuff. You learn about her, and you just follow these characters as over Christmas break, and you learn about the drama behind their lives and stuff. I don't want to spoil too much. Very, very well done.
So is it kind of like a modern Breakfast Club, but like set in the 70s?
Sort of, yeah.
Or it's kind of misfit characters?
Characters that all collide together. Because Giamatti's not a saint either. He's like, he's got demons and he's got a past, and he's like a hard-nosed, hard-ass teacher who's like, on the final day of the semester, he like forces them all to redo their essays because like he's just like, oh, you kids, like he's just like one of those hard-ass teacher where you're like, oh, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
But then obviously you warm up to him, you learn about him, you learn about his past, and he forms a connection with the kid. They form a connection with Mary, and then you learn about the kid's troubled past, about what happened with his family and stuff. Really, really great. The soundtrack's all authentic. The soundtrack's all like early 70s music. There's an amazing song by Labi Sifra that's like Crying, Laughing, Loving or something. Like all the soundtracks like genuine 70s shit. It's fucking
I know
gold.
you fucking hate anachronistic soundtracks.
I do.
Where it's like it'll be the 1920s, but then like David Bowie will suddenly start playing, or like
I can't stand that.
Or like fucking Lana Del Rey will be playing, but it's supposed to be like in the 50s.
Yeah.
You fucking hate when they play songs that are not from the period.
Yeah, and this looks like exactly like a 70s movie. It looks like it's filmed on film.
So it's grainy, it's muted colors.
The acting and like the soundtrack, everything. It's no color to be seen.
Is that what it is?
No.
Is it like muted colors and like
maybe a little bit?
It's like a washed out palette. I like how earlier you're like, I don't know why they always do that. 70s movie don't look like that. And you're like, all right, so it looks like a 70s movie. It's muted.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it looks great. Have you seen the trailers for it?
I haven't watched a thing.
Do yourself a favor and watch the trailer, because even the trailer is shot like a trailer from the 70s and 80s.
Oh,
like,
that's clever.
It's like
so bad.
This
Because a
summer,
lot of those trailers were not good.
it has like the cheesy voiceover where it's like Paul Giamatti. It's like, and it's got like, I don't know.
I'll watch it.
It's got a vibe. to it.
I'm definitely watching this movie. I
It
wanted
won
to
a
be in-
shit ton of awards. I think it won a bunch of Academy Awards or something.
Okay.
One other fascinating thing is the kid, the troubled youth, is so they shot this movie in a real academy, I think in Boston somewhere, because it was like, well, this is perfect. This is an actual private academy. We can shoot on the grounds and shoot all the interiors here. And when they were casting for the kid, they ended up just being like, well, you know what? We're already shooting at this private school. Why don't we let the drama class try out for the role? And so this kid, I believe, you can like fact check.
Oh, he was like an amateur actor.
He was like a kid from the drama class of the
and he
school.
got the lead in this?
He got the lead in this.
Oh, that's
yeah.
impressive.
Yeah,
That's
and he's
fucking cool as
fantastic.
shit.
Yeah. So I think they're just happenstance. They're like, well, we're shooting here and we're having tryouts for auditions. Why don't we let the kids like try out? And like he won the part.
That's great.
And he's great. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So really, really cool. All the actors are fucking incredible.
Yep.
I don't want to spoil it. Go see it. Yeah, I know it's like.
So would you recommend
to talk about it, but not talk about it?
Would you recommend this?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All
Yeah,
right.
don't watch it.
You know what would make this film better if Joel Edgerton showed up like during the break and then like he approaches Paul Giamatti's character and he like blackmails him and he has like dirt on him and he holds it over him. And then Paul
and he goes to the police, but the police
they
are
can't
like,
do anything.
well, there's nothing we can do.
There's nothing we can do. You
Yeah.
know, he's standing just on the edge of school property. We can't touch him.
He didn't technically do it on school
He's basically
property.
invincible. He's basically invincible.
Yeah.
If we shot at him right now, the bullets would go right through him. They would do nothing. We can't do anything.
Yeah.
The law is inadequate.
And they're like, well, I mean, we can arrest him, but we can only hold him overnight.
Puns, folks. Puns.
And the other thing I'll say
we're losing a lot of subscribers after this video. All of the groundwork that Slash Cinema has built
is being undone
by Recently Watched.
Yeah,
Recently Watched is removing those subscribers that Mark and I have gained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the other thing is it's nice. It's like it doesn't try too hard. It just feels like a very breezy watch. Like, what are you laughing at? Careful now. You're going to fucking spew water all over your control board there.
Our stupid puns. We can only hold him overnight. Shut the fuck up. So fucking stupid.
Then we'll have to release him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, thrillers suck shit. I fucking hate it. Anyways,
All right, that's my pick. Go watch it. It's a good movie.
Or don't. We don't care either way.
Everyone already knows it's a good movie. I mean, it's not. I'm
like
the 5 millionth person who's like, it's a great movie. It's good. It's fun. Watch it. It's great.
I haven't watched anything on it. I got recommended it a bunch of times, and I looked up the plot, and that was it. I didn't watch anything about it though. But okay, my next pick. I don't think you've ever heard of this fucking movie.
Okay.
I'm excited to talk to you about this, actually.
Okay.
From 1984.
84.
The magic year, buddy. 84, the year of like
good year.
everything. Yeah, that was the year like every fucking movie
Red Dawn.
came out. I think it was like Blade Runner.
No, that was 82.
It goes through 84. 84, I think it's like E.T., Nightmare on Elm Street, Karate Kid. It's like the insane. 84 is like one of the most stacked film years of all time.
I think the best movie to come out of 84 is Red Dawn.
Well, speaking of Red Dawn.
Boys!
Speaking of Red Dawn.
Avenge me!
Speaking of Red Dawn.
Okay.
So, from 1984.
Okay.
Streets of Fire.
You are about to enter a world unlike any you've ever seen before, where rock and roll is king. The only law is a loaded gun. Where the beautiful,
Stay and see the show. It's really good.
the brutal,
I want Tom Cody.
and the brave all meet
From now on, it's for real.
in Streets of Fire.
I have heard so much about this movie.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
I figured the only thing you knew was the poster.
I know
got
the
a cool
poster. Yeah. This is like a rock opera, isn't
yes.
it? Yeah.
Yes.
Does this also have Harry Dean Stanton? Because he's in Red Dawn.
No, it doesn't.
This
Fuck Red Dawn. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Who is in this? Who's the main guy? Bring this up.
I can't remember who the main actor is, but there's only 2 name actors that I know of that are in this. I'll get to them.
Okay.
I have never heard a single person ever reference this film.
Really?
I didn't.
I've heard it talked about before.
I knew almost nothing about it. All I ever knew was the cool, slick poster, that like neat looking poster, and it said Streets of Fire. I was like, what is this film? I'm like, it's mid 80s. It's like golden era of film. I'm like, this could be anything. Is this a hidden gem? It kind of is. Little asterisks. Like it's really good, but it's not amazing.
Okay.
You know? But like,
is it like a musical then? Is it basically like a rock opera?
No, not really. It's not a musical. It's not like Phantom of the Paradise or like Rocky Horror.
It seems like it might be kind of like that, yeah.
It's got a rocking soundtrack, and it's constantly like hitting you with like tunes.
It's like driving through the plot with like songs kicking in.
It's very theatrical in performances. Like the way people, like the blocking and the action and the direction is very
feels like it could be a play.
Yes,
almost.
like very stage play.
Okay.
Yeah. So it starts off with text informing us this is a rock and roll fable.
Cool.
In another place, in another time. That's the opening text of the film. And it's set in like this dystopian future, but it's like it's a dystopian future, but it's like 1950s style.
Oh, interesting.
Because you know how the 80s had the nostalgic for the 50s? So it's like a hyper 50s dark dystopian world.
Of course.
It's
so 80s.
Fucking cool. Yeah, I know. And it's funny how it's like, it's so 50s looking, and that makes it so 80s. It's so fascinating, right? Like, everyone looks like they're from the 50s. So, like, people are wearing, like, the long skirts, and, like, all the guys have, like, heavy product in their hair and, like,
greaser hair.
Or it's just slicked back, like, preppy hair. Just everybody looks like it's in the 50s. I wrote down, it's a dirty 50s aesthetic. Because it's like,
because you said dystopian,
yes.
So
it's like everything is 50s style. The cars, the clothing, the fashion, the style, but it's all like covered in dirt. It's like you got a little bit of grime all over everything. It's such a cool fucking aesthetic. It's such a cool like setting. So the movie picks up, it immediately punches you in the dick with like this rocking soundtrack and like this, and like it's this rocking, hard-hitting soundtrack, and we got this incredible neon light cinematography, and it opens with a rock concert.
That's cool. Well, that would not make sense though, because rock and roll in the 50s was just like Chuck Berry type stuff. So is it like 80s hair metal rock? Like
No. It's
rock?
not metal. It's not metal. But it is more like aggressive heavy rock that probably would be more like 60s. You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, I'm not a music guy, so don't ask me to give you the history on music and genres.
But is it 80s like bands?
It's hard. It might even be like 80s hard hitting rock.
I'll just look it up.
Well, it's not a specific song though, right?
No, but I'll look up who did the soundtrack.
Yeah, you might be able to find some information on it. But this opening is very familiar. Do you recall the opening of Bubblegum Crisis? When they're in the concert hall?
Yeah.
That's the opening of Streets of Fire. Bubblegum Crisis. They just copied it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's is literally beat for beat the opening.
And there's kind of a chase
Bubblegum
too, right?
Crisis, for those that don't know, is a very well-regarded, a little obscure anime from the 80s.
It's like a classic 80s anime.
Yeah, classic 80s anime. And it has this opening of like this hot chick with like a rock and roll band just belting out this badass rock song at like a concert with all these neon lights flashing and everyone being like, yeah. That's the opening of Streets of Fire.
Awesome.
It turns out this movie is actually hugely influential in Japan and influenced a whole subgenre of anime. And a lot of people credit it for resurrecting the delinquent subgenre in Japan.
Oh, interesting.
It's fascinating. Like, who would have thought this would have influenced like anime, like Japanese culture? I don't know. It's neat. Yeah. Because I mean, it's not a film people would talk about much, but I guess it was bigger over there.
I feel like it started a whole thing of the dystopian rock opera thing that became a thing in a lot of like.
I don't know if this was the one that started it, but it's one of the most influential. Yeah.
Even in comics of the time in the 80s, there was like a run in New Mutants where there was like an X-Men rock opera. There's a couple like issues like that too. So it was like, I think it was a cultural thing in the 80s was like the idea of like rock and roll, like opera musical type shit.
So while this is happening, she's like, the concert's going on. A motorcycle gang whose name I can't remember. I think it's like the Bumpers or something.
The Bumpers.
I don't remember. It might have been. It's probably cooler than what I just said. But it's like this motorcycle gang who are like stereotypical like 50s gang looking, like exactly what you'd think from like those old, rebel movies. The James Dean era. They're all got the slick greaser hair and they're all wearing like over the top outfits. And the leader of the gang is one Willem Dafoe.
Really?
Yes. Young Willem Dafoe. Holy fuck. He looks like a baby in this movie. And they rush into the concert and rush the stage, and they kidnap the lead singer, Ellen Aim, and absolute chaos breaks out. Meanwhile, our protagonist, Tom Cody, comes home to visit his sister, who asks him to save Ellen. Because it turns out that Tom Cody's like, I can't quite remember his background, but I believe he was like a detective or something at one point, or he was like a gun. I think he was like a gun for hire, like some sort of thing. It's a little nebulous on what exactly his career was.
So are these people meant to be like 20-somethings, or are they like teenage? Like
no, they're like, I think 30.
They're all like adults.
Yeah,
then.
they're all like young adults.
Okay.
Yeah, like they're all young adults. They're
when I picture
they're old
like,
enough that they had a life.
Okay.
Like she's like a pop singer, so she's probably like 26, 28. He's probably like 30.
Oh, okay. Because I was picturing like a sock hop with like teenagers dancing. And
No,
like
it's not that young.
Biker youths or something. But,
no, everybody's a little bit older. So Tom Cody comes home, the main guy, and his sister's like, Ellen's been kidnapped. And he's like, why should I care? And he's like, oh, come on, Tom. Like you guys had a thing together. So like they were like star-crossed lovers that had a falling out, and like they're supposed to be like the true love. Like they still feel for each other kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then it's very clear like they all each went down their own path, and there's been so much time apart. There's still like an old wound there.
Yeah.
And then her manager shows up, who's her current boyfriend, played by Rick Moranis.
Really?
Yeah. And Rick Moranis is playing against type. He is an asshole.
Oh, he's
playing like a mean asshole guy. Like,
oh, wow.
He's still like got the nerdy Rick Moranis. Like you can't make Rick Moranis look tough, but like he's just playing like a dick. He's very just like
he's playing it straight. Like
he's playing it straight. Yeah. There's no comedy. He's playing. He's very. Yeah, it's very weird. He's being very arrogant and douchebaggy. Like he thinks he's better than everybody. He's constantly talking down to everybody. You know,
yeah.
And he hires him to get Ellen, save her from the biker gang.
Okay. Why would they kidnap her? Is there any like motive?
I think it's just that like Willem Dafoe's insane. He's basically just like obsessed with her for whatever reason. So he's like, I'm gonna make her my queen. Like it's something like that.
Okay.
Like he wants to like sleep with her, consensually.
Okay. All right.
I don't think consensually. The way to describe the film is it's basically if you took Grease and crossed it with Escape from New York.
That's awesome.
You get Streets of Fire. That's probably the best way to describe this movie.
That sounds really cool.
You're taking like the dystopianness and the action plot of Escape from New York, and you're throwing that muck onto the Grease like 50s, happy-go-lucky aesthetic and vibe, and it works to quite a bit of extent.
Because you've also got like the romance and the drama going on of like the characters.
It's visually stunning. It's got like absolutely gorgeous sets, costumes, lights, cinematography. Like it is a feast for the eyes. It's beautiful to watch. Like every frame is just like it looks great. It's such elaborate costumes and sets. It's like, again, it's from the 80s, so it's like even their cheap movies looked like better than our top movies today. I just fucking love that era of film. You know, like even something like this, I'm going to highly recommend watching it because it's just got so much in it that just makes it a good watch.
So it sounds like a lot of characters.
It's not a good film. Like the film itself is fun to look at, but as a story, it's very clunky and does it actually work? No, it doesn't really stick the landing. It has a lot of plot problems and pacing issues, but like it's just so fun to look at. So the director, it was directed by Walter Hill, same guy who directed 48 Hours.
Oh, okay.
And The Warriors.
Oh shit. Okay, so I imagine he's pretty good at that grim and gritty.
Yes, like almost like kind of gang stuff, but it feels very like the tone of the movie almost feels bigger than itself. Like it just feels like it's so popcorn, bubblegum, like it's all surreal in the way, you know what I mean? Like it's very hard to buy into this world because it's so over the top.
But it's fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it almost borders on satirical in how over the top it is. Like the ending is like there's like Willem Dafoe fights the main character and they have a sledgehammer fight. They fight with like sledgehammers.
Sledgehammer?
It's like, okay, sure, but it's like very like theatrical the way they're fighting.
Yeah.
In the director's own words, he wanted to make what he thought the teenage version of him would think was the perfect movie.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
So
I like that.
So he was like, I made a film that like the teenage version of me would think was perfect.
Yeah.
So,
he's using all of his like adult skills and
to try to make the
sensibilities
perfect,
to try to like make something that his teenage self would be like, this is awesome.
This is the best.
Yeah.
So he put in hot rods, neon lights, motorcycles, rumbles, rock stars, high-speed chases, and leather jackets, all set to a kickin' rock and roll soundtrack.
Man, I'm sold. I
recommend it. Give it a watch. It's worth a watch. It's fucking fun. I mean, like, what else are you gonna watch? Are you gonna watch fucking, some generic fucking rom-com that just came out starring Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell? So my next pick from 2023 is Anyone But You.
That's the jerk Poopy got with when she was on her break from Jonathan.
I could never be with someone like him.
This girl's a disaster.
They're gonna ruin our wedding.
Sorry.
Hey!
How's it going, stranger?
What's going on over there?
They dated. She crushed his heart.
That man does not have a heart.
No way.
Honey, look who's here.
Who is it?
My ex, Jonathan. My parents have been trying to get us back together.
He's like a son to us.
Maybe we should just tell everyone we're together.
What?
It would solve that problem for me, and you clearly want Margaret. She's CJ with me. She wants what she can't have.
There's no way we can convince anyone we actually like each other.
Is this Sydney Sweeney
and Glenn Powell? Did you see this?
No, I didn't. What is this on?
It's on crack is what it is. It's a fucking piece of shit. Fucking it's not good. It's so, you wouldn't watch this. I
wouldn't watch this?
No, like I don't think you would go see this. If your wife didn't want you to, like, if it wasn't for your wife wanting to go see it, you would not search this movie out. There's no way you would.
Is it like a rom-com?
Yeah, it's a rom-com.
Okay.
You don't like that shit.
I don't know, but I might stream it.
This is a Justin thing that he would watch because I watch stupid romancy shit for some reason. I don't know. This is a guilty pleasure of mine. Is I like these type of films.
Yeah.
This is fucking awful. It's as generic, basic, beat by beat, like by the numbers bullshit as you can get.
Really?
It's literally just the most generic fucking rom-com there is.
What's the plot? Hit me
So
with
the plot is like, two perfect looking people have a happen chance. What is that stupid term you used? A meet cute?
Meet cute.
What is this term?
Meet cute just means you happen to meet and then you like hit it off in this like sort of contrived or cute like thing. Where it's like, oh, I just so happened to like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like,
it's dumb, is what it is.
Yeah,
it's a dumb term. Why don't you
strike.
just say that you just met? Why do you have to use some stupid like?
Because it usually turns into like a scenario that it turns into romance from there, blossoms from there.
I don't like these terms too. It sounds like a term that doesn't. It's a good example of a term that doesn't need to exist. You could just say, "Oh, that's how they met," but no, it's like they have a meet cute. We now have a new word to replace a word that already explained what it was. Like
meet cute. In a film or television show, an amusing or charming first encounter between two characters that leads to the development of a romantic relationship between them.
So it's basically a film term.
Yeah, it's like, but people now use it more broadly.
In
but it's like
reality,
it's like a term for like the inciting moment where it's like, oh, they met, and then you could tell right from then that it was a spark and it was going to blossom into this romance.
Okay, so two perfect-looking people, Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. Do you know who Glenn Powell is? Like, can you picture him at all?
He's a big up-and-comer.
He's an up-and-comer now. He was in a ton of shit for years, but now he's finally getting his big break. I think he did a lot of those like teenage raunchy comedies for a while in like the mid-2000s.
Yeah. I'm looking at him now.
He's like, he's in the new Twisters movie.
He was in Top Gun Maverick, I
guess. Yeah, that was another big role he landed. But anyways, he's on the up and coming. Okay. So is Sydney Sweeney. Coincidence that these two hot, perfect people are on the up and up and we're going to put them in a movie together?
Yeah, but that's how Hollywood works.
Yeah, I know. It's just a shame. So it's just a shame because they could, make Streets of Fire 2 or something. There's a good double feature. They did like Barbenheimer, Streets of, what is it? Anyone But You. So like,
how are you gonna tie these two? Let's hear it.
Streets of anyone. Anyone can be on this street. Streets of You, buddy. The streets of you.
Streets of You.
The streets of you. Okay. Yeah. Anyone but fire. Anyone but Willem Dafoe. So these two main characters, they meet each other at like a cafe.
They have a meet cute.
They have like a meet cute. Shut up. They have a meet cute, and it's like it's like Sydney Sweeney. It's like a huge line. She's got to like take a shit or something. And then,
what? Does she say that?
No, I don't remember, but she has to use the washroom. So she's like, and they're like, I'm sorry, it's for like paying customers only. And she's like, well, I'll buy something, but there's a huge line. I really have to go.
I'm gonna shit my pants.
And then Glenn Powell's like next in line. He sees her and he's like, she's hot. I'll be a gentleman here. And she's like, oh, my wife. I'm ordering for her. So he does like the chivalrous thing, and then she's like, yeah, thank you, husband. And then they get to know each other and they have like this romantic, like natural evening that happens. And there's like this dumb misunderstanding that like basically what happens is they have like this whole romantic evening. And then like, I think she sleeps over at his house. They don't fuck, but like she sleeps over. He like reveals a lot about himself. They like instantly fall for each other kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And then she leaves and she's all like, oh my God, like this guy is amazing. And she's all like excited about it. And like, so is he, but then like his friend comes over and kind of like, is poking fun at him. And then he's like, tries to play it cool. And he's like, no, man, like, oh, whatever. Like, we smashed and then she left. Like, he just does like, he's trying to like,
oh, really?
He's trying to be like the put on the macho face.
Yeah.
But then she coincidentally overhears this because she forgets like something at his apartment. And then like she's at the door and
so
she
it's a big
overhears
misunderstanding.
it. So it's like a big, it's a movie of misunderstandings. That's all this movie is. It's so fucking by the numbers. It's so predictable. Yeah. So then she's like, oh, well, that guy was a piece of shit. And then she never contacts him. So then he was like, well, I guess she was a liar and she was phony. And like, she was, she was acting like she really liked me, but she didn't. So like, they both don't like each other. And then it turns out Glenn Powell's sister is getting married to Sydney Sweeney's best friend. So now they're going to be forced to interact at the wedding.
At the wedding, yeah.
And then what ends up happening is like, they go to it's like a destination wedding. And then wacky hijinks ensue.
So it's a screwball comedy.
Yeah.
Because that's what screwball comedies are. It's always misunderstandings.
Yeah.
Well, it's not crap. It's just
crap.
a genre.
No, this is shit. This is absolute shit for the birds.
This is
It's
genre
not good.
conventions, but
It's
like,
crap.
misunderstandings, like goofy, like comedic sequences, and then that leads to like romance, and then like that kind of shit.
It's shit.
Yeah.
It's crap. It's all crap. So and then they both and then like, it's so by the numbers. So then like guess what? Just guess what happens next. I bet you can get it.
So they go to
in these type of scenarios.
You said they go to a resort wedding.
Yeah. So they're at destination wedding.
They keep running into each other and zany hijinks.
Yeah, absolutely. Zany hijinks.
Okay.
Yeah. But okay, in these type of scenarios, who shows up? Somebody's gonna show up to make it really awkward. X's.
X's, yeah.
The two X's. So Glenn Powell's ex shows up, Sydney Sweeney's ex shows up, and then Sydney Sweeney's like, look, neither one of us wants to deal with our exes, so let's just pretend to be a couple, and then we'll get everybody off our backs.
Another screwball.
So then they have this is wacky hijinks. We're like, we're gonna pretend to be a couple. Yeah. It's not funny. The comedy doesn't land. I don't feel sympathy for either of these perfect looking human beings. Go fuck yourself. I'm never gonna get. I'm sorry. Don't Hollywood. The perfect girl, the perfect looking guy that looked like they were just chiseled by the gods. How are we supposed to feel? Why are we feeling bad for you that you're lonely when you could get someone in 0.5 seconds? Like, I'm sorry, you would never need to be lonely unless you chose to be lonely. And don't give me some shit about like maybe they have fucking depression. I fucking hope they have depression.
Beautiful people have feelings too, Justin.
Yeah, what the fuck ever, all right?
I mean, I would know.
My eyeballs, if they could have, would have gone out of my skull to roll that hard and then roll back in. Yeah.
So you didn't find the characters.
They're not charming. They're not.
Charming.
I don't buy it. I just don't buy into this. It's just two perfect looking people being in like this wacky situation that's not.
But is it not?
And that's not funny.
Is it meant to be over the top though?
Yeah.
Like,
It's so stupid. It's the humor is awful. It's just so like. A lot of the humor revolves around like getting Sydney Sweeney's tits out.
Really?
Oh, it's very much so. Like I wrote 90% of the movie seems to be meant to get Sydney Sweeney's tits out for display or highlighting her butt. There's so many shots of just like her ass and like her in a bikini or like her like wearing a top where her tits are smashed together, and it's like. So I guess the movie's not that bad. It's pretty good now that I'm thinking about it. It's not that bad, you know. Like, no, this movie sucks shit. It's just so generic crap.
How does it end? Does it end together?
Who cares? It's offensively. It is offensively mediocre, and it's just a waste of time for all involved. It's not clever. It's not funny. It fails on all levels, and it has nothing meaningful to say. It's just like, you really were the one. That was supposed to be the other person's tongue. I hope that didn't look. I don't know if you thought that was me going down on Glenn Powell's cock. I was trying to do a tongue. In retrospect. In retrospect, maybe you thought that was me going down on Glenn Powell. That was supposed to be them making out. That's how it ends. Is they admit their feelings from each other. And they're like, blah. Let's wrap the episode up there. I don't think we can't top.
That's all, folks.
Can't top that. It ain't getting any better.
All right.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel.
Or don't.
We don't care. There, I had to mute his fucking mic so that way he can't interrupt this. But yeah, no, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. If you like this content, subscribe, because it actually helps the algorithm show this video, like show our content for more people, and it helps grow the audience. So please help us. If you want to support the channel, I'm not asking for any Patreon or any of that bullshit. I don't need your money at the moment. Eventually I will need your money, but for the time being, I don't need your money. So you can support us by liking these videos and subscribing. That's the best way to help the channel. We will return with more random fucking movies and TV shows we watched. I think we're going to take a break on the ranking shit for a bit.
Maybe. We'll see. Yeah.
No, we're taking a break.
All right.
Let me be clear. We're going to take a break on the ranking shit for a little bit. We will be back at some point. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
And
thanks
thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop talking.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Did you remember to thank them?
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Okay, all right. You got both.
Yeah.
You got the listening and the watching, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay.